Game show. My name is Nick Federico, your play-by-play commentator. Alongside me, Justin Borges, Robert Gonzalez, and Ryan Ketchum, your color commentators for tonight's game. We will be your coverage crew for the entire 2019 season as we look forward to another exciting year. Tonight's matchup will be taking place here at Chick Emery Field at Escondido High School, home of the Palomar Comets, where they will be playing host to the Moore Park Raiders. Tonight's matchup will be a rematch of the season opener last year when Moore Park lost a close one, 20-16. Justin, what does Moore Park have to do tonight to avoid another defeat?
So last season, they struggled with 120 penalties for over 1,000 yards. That's something that they're going to look to clean up this year because they don't want any unforced mistakes heading into this game.
Right, I agree with that as well. I mean, a lot of penalties last year. They have to clean it up this year. Now, Robert, who are some key players returning to Moore Park for this 2019 season?
One thing I'm looking forward to seeing is defensively, Moore Park returns two of their top playmakers on the defensive line, sophomore Ivory Jackson and sophomore Antoine Wynn. They each specialize in pressuring the quarterback, which is what they're going to need to stay in this game. Last season, Jackson accounted for 11 sacks and Wynn had 6.5.
All right, and that's going to go ahead and wrap up our pregame show presented by Mike Stewart. All right, coming up next, kickoff. Palomar won the toss and elected to receive as Moore Park will kick off to start off this 2019 season. And the kick is underway. Shallow kick down towards the 30-yard line. It's going to bounce down outside around the 20. And there is a flag on the first play of the game.
Not a great start to the season thus far.
Just like you were saying, Justin, already talking about penalties in the first play of the game. I don't know what side it is yet. Can't speculate, but it does look to see that there's already a penalty this early on.
When a kick goes out of bounds, that usually means it's on the kicking team. That would mean another 15 yards.
Exactly, and that's what this was.
One thing that's going to be interesting to see, that Palomar offense, last season, they averaged about 280 yards per game. They got two returning quarterbacks, including Rodney Thompson, who had 200 yards and two passing touchdowns against the Raiders last season.
Rodney Thompson will be starting tonight as he has a single set backfield. One receiver on the far side. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going to pass. He's going to cut upfield. Tackled for a 5-yard gain. That was number 14 for the Palomar Comets, Johnny Armentrout, the sophomore 5'10", 175-pound receiver.
Little screen pass right there to start the game, trying to get into an early rhythm for Palomar's offense.
Johnny is one of the returning wide receivers for Palomar, so they're going to have that connection from last year.
Palomar definitely going with a quick offense, not really a type to huddle. It's going to be a 2nd and 4. Single set back. He's going to get in the shotgun. He's going to pass to number 9 and get knocked out right around the 46-yard line. Does look like it's going to be enough for a... He might be just short there. That was number 9 for the Comets. Kyron Griffin, the 6'3" freshman. Now, something that really came up to me, guys, as I was looking over this roster, there are a lot of players here from Escondido High School. In fact, 10. So, I mean, there's a lot of connection here, and I'm looking to see how that's going to play out tonight. I mean, how do you think that's going to affect the game with so many of these players here being part of this culture and part of this high school?
Well, they obviously, some of them also may have played together in the same year, which makes it easier for them once they get to college to also have that chemistry because they've already seen what the other guys can do.
Right. And, I mean, this program is, it's just by looking at this place, I mean, they definitely have built a reputable high school here and obviously brought some athletes like to Palomar and executed. It's going to be a first down as they were able to pick up a first down. 1st and 10 here on the 47. He's in the shotgun set, looking, scrambling, trying to cut upfield. He's going to get a nice chunk of yards, about 5 yards on the run there by Thompson. Now, like you talked about, Justin, Thompson is definitely a runner, and he only did start one game last year, and that was actually against Moore Park College, where he had he rather excelled, and they came away with the victory. So what can Moore Park do to contain Thompson tonight?
Well, look for them to have a lot of blitz packaging. They're going to want to rush the quarterback. I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of design QB runs or if there's going to be a lot more improvisation and scrambling. We'll have to see how that plays out tonight.
Right. 2nd and 6, but there is going to be a flag on the play. Looks like there's a false start.
Yeah, we're going to have to look out for Thompson during this game. Moorpark will. He is a dual threat quarterback, so he will be throwing the ball and running constantly. Last year during this game, he actually had 47 yards on the ground and 200 yards in the air.
And I'm interested to see whether Palomar will pass or run more. They struggled with the run last season, averaging 3.2 yards a carry. They were much more successful in the passing game with 7 yards per attempt and 12.8 per completion.
And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 12 as they're in the shotgun single back set once again. Thompson dropping back. Going to hit him on a short screen, and he's going to be tackled for a loss of 5 as the whole Moorpark Raiders swarm.
And that was a great telegraph of the screen right there, jumping the route and being able to be set to make that open field tackle.
This is going to be a crucial down for Moorpark Raiders. We got a 3rd and long. Let's see if they can hold them.
Moorpark's defense was one of the brighter spots in last season. I'm looking to see how they're going to be able to keep up that momentum and ultimately build off it. And a 3 and out early on in the game is crucial for the momentum of this team. It is going to be a 3rd and 16 here. Comets have the ball down on the 41. There's 12 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Shotgun set, single back. Thompson's going to get the ball, dropping back. Just gets the ball off in time, hits number 7, and he's going to be tackled just short of the first down. That was number 7 on the catch, Logan Gamble. Actually, Logan Gamble last year had a game against Moorpark, as he is listed here at 6'6", 210 pounds. So he's definitely their monster, their wideout, the guy they're going to hit on the deep ball, or in this case, in crucial 3rd downs. But it's going to be a 4th and short, and they're going for it.
And he might have had it, but he readjusted, kind of ran back a little bit, trying to avoid the tackle, and that's going to put him just short of the first down marker.
And it's going to be 4th and a couple feet. Thompson in single back set again. Shotgun set. Pardon me, that's going to be number 8, Kyron Griffin under QB.
Look for a wildcat. He may run right up the middle here.
Griffin is actually listed here as a receiver as well. Pardon me, that was Shea Morales. Shea Morales is also their QB, but he's their backup QB, so that is why they had him out there on that particular play. But it does look like there was a false start, which is going to bring them to 4th and 6.
Shea is another returning sophomore for the Palomar Comets. Last year, he was able to play in several games last season, but he had 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So that touchdown to interception ratio might be something Moorpark can take advantage of this game.
Right, and look to see Moorpark take advantage of it. Defensively, already off to a hot start, shutting down that drive before it got out of hand. And the Comets are going to elect to punt with just 11 minutes and 8 seconds left in this first quarter. Punt it away. Going to drop down about on the 20, down to the 10. It's going to roll down to the 8-yard line before the Comets are going to stop it right there.
We'll have to see this game how special teams really plays in effect. As we saw Moorpark, when they first kicked off, they kicked out of bounds, and that's not going to be a great way to start. But this punt puts them deep within their own territory, so we'll see how Moorpark gets out of it.
It's going to be interesting to see Moorpark's offense because a lot of players are not coming back. You got a new quarterback. You have a new full set of wide receivers. You have a full new offensive line practically. And you got some big guys on this Palomar defensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see how a young offensive line can be able to hold the way for Mike Stewart's offense coming out here for the Raiders.
As for the first look at the Moorpark offense here, as they come out in a single back or empty back set here in shotgun. He's going to motion him across. Gets the snap. Going to check down, and it's almost – it looked to be knocked away. It would be labeled an incomplete pass, but the way they're acting, it almost looked like a fumble on that one. And that was number 17 for Moorpark College, Trey Johnson who is actually from Oaks Christian. So a prominent school like Oaks Christian playing for Moorpark College, he definitely has to know a thing or two about how to win and how to get it done.
And
that was actually a heads-up play by him. He threw it right into the defender, and then he was able to grab it instead of it being an interception for a touchdown.
And he's labeled here at 6'4", 220, so a perfect height for a starting quarterback at a college. He's going to motion his receiver across, get the snap, rolling out to his left. He's going to hit, pick up a nice chunk of yards, and just enough for the first down it looks to be. That was number 1 for Moorpark, Dupree Fuller, 6'4", 235 pounds, big guy.
He's going to be featured heavily in this offense this season as well.
We've seen a little bit of an inconsistent play by tight ends throughout Moore Park College's time, at least under Coach Mike Stewart. So it's good to be able to see the tight end motioning around in the offensive set and not just blocking, actually getting out to catch some balls.
A little bit of confusion on the line here as they all get set. It's going to be a 3rd and 1 as he's going to hand it off, try and cut it up outside, and he looks to be shy once again. That was number 24 on the carry for the Moore Park Raiders, Malachi Meeks. There is 9 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game.
And Meeks is part of this.
In the quarter.
Meeks is part of this core of running backs that is going to be featured heavily at the position this year. Edyon Bada looks to also be featured. He may be the primary also heading into this season.
And Eddie Mbada, actually a veteran here from Moore Park College. He played 2 years ago and then redshirted last year. So he's back for his 3rd season, but 2nd season of eligibility. So that's always good to have a veteran in your running back core. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 1 here. A 4th down and 1. Trey Johnson in the backfield again, empty back set. They're going 5 wide here. It looks like the punting unit is now coming on the field. A little bit of confusion. I don't know if this was designed or not, but definitely some confusion here on the field. Palomar trying to shift out with their packages as well, but Moore Park does look like they're going to punt it here on 4th and 1 with 9 minutes and 2 seconds left in this first quarter here.
I was going to say that would be really risky play call coming right out the bat, going for it on 4th and 1 right next to your own end zone.
Of course, yeah, inside your own 20, it's not always a great call. But they are going to elect to punt. He's just going to get it off in time as that's a booming punt all the way down to the 45 where it is dropped, but then recovered by number 14 for Palomar, Johnny Armentrout. So the Comets are going to gain possession, as they look to go back on the field to give it another go here. First go wasn't too hot. They were able to pick up 1 first down before Moore Park shut them down. But while we have a little break in action, we want to thank some of our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you guys. First off, U.S. Army. Going business trips with a company like no other, U.S. Army. Big brand tires and service. Big and fast. Big on friendly.
And in terms of Palomar's history, they have 10 conference championships and 4 Southern California regional titles under their belt as a football team.
Thompson going to drop back, throws it once again to number 9, who tries to break a tackle, but is swarmed with 3 Raiders all to the ball right there. Making the tackle, that was number 26 on the hit, Dante Gibson for the Raiders. And that was number 9 on the carry, Kyron Griffin.
One thing I'm noticing early, both these quarterbacks are taking their short dump offs, whatever they can get, and then cutting it upfield, letting their athletes do the plays for them.
Right, sometimes dink and dunking is your best option. It's going to be a 2nd and 10 here. Thompson, shotgun, single back set. He's going to fake the handoff, break a tackle, roll through the middle, cut back, stays on his feet, gets to the left side, stiff arms, and drags all the way across to the 37-yard line. What a run by Thompson. First down, Comets.
And Thompson in some ways makes it look effortless because you may wonder if it's a scramble, but he makes it look almost like a designed run.
On the skill backs on the field right now, you have number 5 for the Comets. That's going to be Jeremiah Ruger, number 4, Damian Wiggins, along with Thompson, and number 9, Kyron Griffin. Once again, it's going to be another first down with the single back set. Thompson, the shotgun, gets the snap. He's going to go deep with it. And it's broken up. Just barely got his fingertips on it, was able to knock it away. What a great play by the Moore Park secondary there.
One thing that I've been seeing out of Moore Park's defense is they're dropping back in coverage a lot more. They're having a 3-4 set. They're just rushing 3, and they're making sure that they have a linebacker spying on the quarterback. So that's one good thing that I'm seeing out of the Raiders defense because they were blown away last season with the passing game, and we know that Palomar, at least speaking about in the pregame show a little bit, that can pass the football effectively. So good change on defensive side for the Raiders.
And that was a roughing the passer call, so that's going to go against Moore Park as Palomar picks up another first down, 15 yards. That was Peyton Shelton, number 21, veteran secondary player on that breakup.
Like you touched upon, Justin, penalties will be an issue for the Moore Park Raiders. They got to get this cleaned up.
1st and 10. Thompson, the shotgun, gets the snap. He's going to lob one up in the far left side, but he's way out of bounds.
And when you blitz, you end up man-to-man in the secondary. You can leave your corners on an island. You expect them to be able to have one-on-one coverage with very little help, so it runs a risk there.
That's going to be a 2nd and 10 now as the Comets are on their 30-yard line going in with 7 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. On the field right now, number 18. We haven't seen him in too much tonight. Number 18 for the Comets, Isaiah Batten, tight end. He's going to motion his receiver across. Thompson's scanning the field. Gamble's going to set. Thompson gets the shot, gets a snap. He's going to throw it to his left, and he's tackled for a short gain to Logan Gamble. Tackled on the play by there, Peyton Shelton, the veteran secondary. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 6. So far, a lot of passing, not too much running for either team. The only time we have seen running so far is really when Thompson has been kind of flushed out of the pocket, which he usually runs in the middle of the pocket because of that. But a lot of passing for both teams thus far in the game. With that being said, he's going to have a single back set. Thompson in the shotgun is going to get the snap, looking to his right, flush it out of the pocket. He's just going to get it off in time to avoid the sack. That's going to be an incomplete pass, and that's going to bring up a 4th down. Because that was Daniel Henderson on there, able to cause pressure. Number 44 for the Raiders.
Number 56, Ivory Jackson, also displayed some pressure, as Robert was alluding to in the pregame show as well. And Jackson, he actually got some more weight on him, 6'4", 260, as he was a little bit smaller last season. So getting that almost NCAA Division I weight on him, and still has the speed to be able to get around the lineman.
And in terms of Team D, they have 32 sacks last season, so they look to have more heading into this campaign.
An aggressive call early on in the first quarter here, as the Comets are going to go for it on a 4th and 6. Thompson in the backfield is going to get the snap, looking to his left. Looking. Hits it right over the middle. And it goes right through the hands of number 26 on the Raiders. That was Dante Gibson. And on the touchdown, that was number 14 for the Comets, Johnny Armentrout. But there is a flag on the play. It looks to go right through the hands of the Moore Park secondary and right into Armentrout's hands. What a great throw by Thompson, as he was able to scan the whole field before making his decision.
That's one big difference between the two of them. The Palomar Comets had plenty of offensive time for the offensive line to give them that fresh pocket to go ahead and step up and throw it.
That penalty is going to be assessed on the kickoff there. It was on the Palomar Comets.
And the risk pays off.
Mirror from last season. Last season, Palomar was the first ones on the board. We're hoping to see if Moore Park College can repeat and maybe do a little bit something different from what they did last season and come back into this game.
And the risk pays off going for it on 4th down right there.
Number 46 for the Comets puts it upright, and that was Noah Lopez, the freshman kicker. So the Comets strike first with a 7-0 lead against the Moore Park Raiders with 6:35 left in the first quarter. But while we have another little break in action, we want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. We could not do any of this without you, so we thank you very much. Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo is recommitting to helping all our customers succeed financially. Wells Fargo, established in 1852, reestablished in 2018. UCLA Health, a proud sponsor of Moore Park College Athletics. With neighborhood offices in Simi Valley, Porter Ranch, Thousand Oaks, Ventura, and Westlake Village, the very best care is now closer to you. UCLA Health. It begins with you. Pegasus Transit Incorporated. We are the answer to your transportation needs. In-N-Out Burger. Freshness you can taste. Simi Valley Auto Center. Proud to support Moore Park College Athletics. DCH Lexus of Oxnard. Proudly supporting education in Moore Park College football. Lexus. Experience amazing. PennyMac. Let's tackle all your mortgage needs together. PennyMac. The lender you can call home. And with that being said, Palomar looks to kick it off to Moore Park as they try to get another shot at it and try and put some points up on the board. Early on, though, Palomar's offense has been everything that they could imagine: explosive, dynamic, and scoring. And the kick is underway as it's going to fall down to about the 22-yard line where it's muffed. It's muffed again, picked up at the 15. tries to break a tackle, but he's knocked down after a gain of maybe 2 yards. That was number 11 on the return, Keontae Skinner, the wide receiver out of Lake Howell.
I am not envious on him on that one. After muffing that punt, or muffing that kickoff, he had to turn around and he saw a wall of at least 5 to 6 Comets coming at him.
Yeah, and muff punts are definitely something, or muff kickoffs, pardon me, are something that nobody intends to have happen. But when they do happen, sometimes you just got to make the best of it. And he tried to, but he only was able to get a yard or two. Palomar swarmed him. So Trey Johnson back in the shotgun. Empty setback. You got 5 wide here. He's going to get the snap. He's looking to his left. He's going to fire deep. And overthrown to his intended receiver, number 22, Tyrese Morrison. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Something we saw last year, guys, that I know Moore Park looks to change this year, is their offense could never really catch a consistent flow. There was always problems with the communication and the scheming. So this year, I'm really looking to see how they can change that and ultimately have an offense that can, fire on all cylinders. With that being said, though, it's going to be a 2nd and 10. Johnson's going to motion from his left side. He's going to roll out to his right side. He's going to fire off his back foot. Just overthrown, but it is picked off. And that looks to be number 27 of the Palomar Comets, David Quintanilla. The 6-foot freshman out of Temecula. So the Comets are going to get the ball right back after just a short break. And the Moore Park Raiders defense has to come right back out there.
And Moore Park has to be careful because this could get their defense very tired. They may start to rotate players you may not see in this game to keep bodies fresh.
One thing that I saw out of Trey Johnson on that drive specifically is he didn't look down his checklist. He didn't look down his receivers. He were only staring at one receiver, the deep pass on the far side that was incomplete, and then this one, he was just looking at one receiver the whole entire time and telegraphed his pass. He needs to look off the defense to be able to be successful.
And that's going to bring up a 1st down as the Comets are driving inside their own 40 here on the 37-yard line. Thompson's going to get the snap, hand it off right away, but he is eaten up in the backfield as 3 to 4 Raiders clobber him. That was number 28, on the carry for the Comets. Lamar Rabotu. And that's going to be a 2nd and 12.
Once again, Ivory Jackson making his presence known, getting in on that tackle. One of the 3 getting after him.
2nd and 12. Thompson looks to get the call. Single back set, number 28 back out there with him in the backfield. Robital. He's going to motion number 14 across. Armentrout. He's going to hand the ball off and just get back to the line of scrimmage there. Not much going on in that play. That's going to bring up a 3rd down for the Comets.
This has got to be the best result after an interception. Stopping him right behind the line 2 times in a row. Looking at a 3rd and long. Hopefully the Moore Park Raiders have an opportunity to get out of this one.
One thing I'm a little surprised out of Palomar is they've had so much success in the passing game, at least compared to the running game, and they were just running it right now. Go back to the pass. That's where you've been having success. Moore Park can't guard you right now.
And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 13 single back set. Thompson in the backfield alongside Robital. He's going to get the snap. Look to his right. Flusher tries to roll through the pocket. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another tackle. Open field. And picks up, somehow, turns a sack into a gain of 8. What a play by Thompson. But it's still going to be 4th down.
And that's a huge gain because it could set up a possible fringe field goal range, or they could go for it on 4th down. Sets up a lot of possible options for this Palomar offense.
It's going to be a 4th and 6 with 4 minutes and 46 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Once again, the Comets are going for it. Very, very aggressive early on in the season. And I like the calls by the coach. They're really putting their offense out there and basically telling Moore Park, you can't stop us. So in a 4th and 6, they're going to go for it. Thompson, single back set, gets the snap. Looking to his left, feels the pressure, avoids it, throws off his back foot, hits his receiver. Number 9 with an amazing snag, Kyron Griffin. The Comets strike in back-to-back touchdowns within a mere 4 minutes.
And both of those touchdowns came on 4th down plays.
The freshman from New Orleans really adjusted on that one, the wide receiver, Kyron Griffin. He really turned left when the ball was going. He was facing right to start, and he was able to adjust with the ball in the air. The quarterback trusting his wide receiver, and that's how they scored on that one.
And the Comets will look to kick the PAT as number 30 this time, their kicker. That is Mark Mender. They have 2 kickers here on the roster. That's going to be right through the uprights as the Comets jump out to a 14-0 lead.
And one thing that Moore Park will look to clean up defensively are missed tackles and busted coverages and assignments. That's something they're going to need to look for on the next couple of drives on defense.
And while we have another short break in action, we want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, SoCal Life powered for 125 years. IBEW, local number 47, is a proud supporter of Moore Park College Raiders. DCH Auto Group, delivering customer happiness. Corner Bakery Cafe, located in the Simi Valley Town Center, proud to support Moore Park College football. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. Matera Design Consultant. For all your design, layout, and production needs, contact Vine Matera at vmatera@earthlink.net. Matera Design Consulting. So Palomar with the early success in the passing game, like Justin said, both coming on 4th downs. And number 30 for the Comets, Mark Meter, will kick it off, giving Moore Park another chance to go back out there and get some points on the board. Nice kick. Nice kick's going to fall down to about the 5-yard line, where it is returned. Number 5 is going to break a tackle for the Moore Park Raiders. He's down to the 40, and he's tackled down at the 45. What a run by number 5 for the Moore Park Raiders, Dylan Lee.
And that's a big run to set up solid field position for Moore Park's offense, something they desperately need to get on the board here.
And speaking about getting on the board, they need to do that early. So far last season, they were the 4th worst team in scoring points per game. They had right around 11 points per game. They need to be able to up that, and they need to be able to score early to be able to stop this onslaught right now we're seeing out of Palomar.
And we have an injury, it appears, on the field.
You hate to see that happen. You hope nothing too serious happens to him. And while we do have another break in action, though, we do want to thank a couple more sponsors here. Los Robles Health System has been your source for your family's health care for more than 50 years. Award-winning care closer to home. Custom pie and bar next door. Wood-only oven pizza. 17 craft beers on tap. Wine by the glass, appetizers, pasta, salad, and more. Home of the Raider happy hour after each home football game. Marketplace, official supplier of trophies, awards, gifts, and appeal for Moore Park College since 2007. And it is great to see him come to his knee. You hate to see a player go down, but it's always a great sign when he's able to get back on his own 2 feet.
And that was number 31, Kobe Dominguez. So we hope to see him back in this game very, very shortly. It doesn't look like it was a very serious injury. He was able to walk off under his own power.
I'm not one to speculate, but with a name like Kobe, you know he's probably got to have some baller potential. With that being said, it's going to be a first down for the Moore Park Raiders as they start this drive on the 46-yard line. Different quarterback under center this time. It's going to be number 13, Isaiah Johnson, who's going to get the snap, hand it off, and they're going to cut it right up the middle for a nice chunk of 4 to 5 yards. Nice carry.
And part of the reason for a QB change is there were 3 guys that had an opportunity to start this game, and Coach may be feeling his way through it to see who gives him the greatest potential to win today.
That was Malachi Meeks on the run. False start, it looks to be as a couple flags go flying. And Justin, I can't reiterate it enough. Penalties have been the demon for the Moore Park Raiders last year. Early on, we've already seen a couple, and we're not even done with the first quarter. They have to clean up the mental errors. That is something that they absolutely can control and can be detrimental to this team if they don't fix it.
Well, and it stifles momentum, which is something that in sports you obviously always really need, especially in football.
And that's going to be a 2nd and 12 here. Johnson in the single back set. Going to motion across. Get the snap, fake the handoff, hit him on the screen. He's going to break a tackle and go flying as he picks up only 2 to 3 yards. And that was number 80 for the Moore Park Raiders on the reception, Reese Smith.
And there was a late flag on the field. We'll see what the penalty is here. It did come in the backfield around the 39-yard line.
And those penalties are going to add up. Once again, it looks to be on the Moore Park Raiders here. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Something must have happened as soon as the play was over. Now, one thing I am noticing here, he's coming off the field as I say this, or he's talking to Coach Stewart as when he's walking over, but Isaiah Johnson compared to Trey Johnson are 2 very different style quarterbacks. If you just look at their physique, Isaiah Johnson is much more built, almost like a running back or a tight end, someone that you can maybe even use on like a goal line situation. But Trey Johnson definitely more looks like a pocket passer, a little bit more, has a little bit more finesse when it comes to throwing. But it's great to see Moore Park has different style of QBs because that way defenses can't target down on one quarterback. They have to ultimately alternate constantly. But that is going to bring up a third and very, very long, 3rd and 25 with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Once again, they're gonna have a trips down here on the shallow side. ISO receiver on the wide side, single back set. Johnson's gonna go ahead and motion him over. Gets the snap, looking to his left. He feels pressure, and he's gonna be sacked.
Well, and that sack, it sort of encapsulates the offensive line, which is extremely undersized. They're going to have to adjust by being quick with their hands and smarter and quicker to the ball to be able to protect their QB.
Also, as you mentioned, an undersized offensive line. They're also young. This is their first time, at least most of them, playing at this community college level. And these community college defensive linemen are really big, so you need to be able to move your feet, and they're also really quick, so you need to be able to move your feet, position yourself in a way to be able to block them.
The punt is underway. It's going to take a wobble down towards the 40, bounce down to the 30, down to the 25, where it's going to be returned. Break a tackle. He's going to break a tackle, and he's tackled down there at the 27-yard line. That was number 4 on the return for the Comets, Jeremiah Ruger.
And fortunately for Moore Park, whoever's back there lining up at quarterback, they have not had any time or protection, and both of them are getting clobbered back there in the backfield.
And Robert, when you start rotating quarterbacks in, it can mess with the offensive rhythm because you do not have a single guy that you're looking to for a signal caller.
That's actually one thing I worried about when they had that false start. I think sometimes the rhythm gets thrown off by throwing in different quarterbacks, and you don't have the same cadence, the same clap count, and so something like that can be a byproduct of that.
The Comets looking to capitalize on their last 2 drives, or on their next drive, pardon me. They have capitalized on their last 2 drives, as Thompson has been rather spectacular on 4th down, with 2 touchdowns, both under pressure on 4th down. Single back say he's going to fake the handoff, hit him on a slant route, but overthrows just to the left of him. As his intended receiver, number 14, Armin Trout.
And part of those 4th down conversions has to do with his elusiveness in the pocket. He's been able to scramble away from the defensive ends in order to make something happen downfield.
That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Now, regardless, if we're not talking 4th downs, guys, Moore Park actually has been rather excelling when it comes to first 2 3rd downs. But every time that 4th down comes up, they aren't able to stop these throws, and that's why the Comets keep going for it on 4th down, because they're able to execute. Thompson's going to motion Armin Trout across the left side of the field, get the snap. He's going to look to his left as he is sacked by number 8 of the Moore Park defense. Coming in on a huge tackle, Antoine Wynn, someone that Robert had talked about during the pregame show, a returning veteran for this Moore Park defense.
Thompson has normally been pretty squirmy avoiding the sacks, but this one, Wynn had him wrapped up in the backfield.
Well, and it came from a blind side. He didn't even see it coming off the right end, so.
The Comets rotating some players out here, or motioning them over, I should say. Number 7 going to the far side. That's Gamble. That's their go-to guy when it comes to big-time plays down there on the far side on the 20-yard line. It will be a 3rd and 15 as Thompson gets the ball, looking, feels the pressure, ultimately just throws it away, tries to hit anybody in the vicinity, but it is broken up by Daniel Henderson. There is a flag, though. It looks to be roughing the passer. Ivory Jackson coming in on the tackle.
Unfortunately, Ivory didn't lay off on that one. He came in a little bit late, something that you need to kind of come up on as best you can. It's hard when momentum is going, but he went straight through him for that play.
Well, and when you're up near the head, that's usually when the call will come into effect, near the helmet.
And you know what? It actually was not roughing the passer. It looked to be a holding call, but Moore Park would obviously decline that so that they can get a chance to get the ball back. Returning for the Moore Park special teams unit is number 5, Dylan Lee, the one that had that great return just a couple plays ago. Let's see what he can do in open field.
Jackson lucky to get away with that hit.
Punt's going to roll down at about the 40-yard line, where it did touch his foot, so he has to pick the ball up. And he's going to be stopped right there on the 38-yard line. One thing I don't know if our viewers are one thing that I should point out is that if the football does touch anyone on the returning team, any part of their body, that ball becomes live, and therefore the kicking team now has a chance to re-pick up the ball. And you saw right there, one of the gunners for the Moore Park Raiders' foot had touched it, so Lee had no choice but to jump on that ball.
That was a heads-up play by Lee, getting on that ball as quickly as he can with runners coming at his face. A lot of pressure right in front of him.
So they're gonna stick with Isaiah Johnson now for his second drive of the night as he's coming back out in a pro set with an ISO receiver on the left side. He is going to motion his running back, and he's going to hand the ball off. It was a fumble, but he's able to jump back on top of it. Looked like a little miscommunication with the handoff, almost as if Johnson didn't want to actually hand the ball off there.
Well, that could have been an option play, and usually it's the quarterback's read, if that is the call, to decide whether he wants to keep it or give it off. And a lot of cases, there can be some miscommunication.
On the field for the receivers, we have Jordan Cuevas. We also have Reith Smith on this shallow side right here. He's going to hand the ball off once again. Break a tackle, but he's tackled behind the line. Once again, this offensive line for Moore Park is having a lot of trouble picking up these blitzes. It's going to lead to a third down in 15. There is no time left in the first quarter, as that's going to wrap up the end of the first quarter. The Comets are up 14-0 as they wrap up the first quarter. So far, this game has been all Palomar. But while we have a short break in action, we are going to thank just a few more of you sponsors making it possible for all of us to be here today. Coca-Cola celebrates, helping athletes power through with Powerade. Corporation Graphic Communications, official signage company of Moore Park College Athletics. Jan's Marketplace, cheers to a successful season, proudly supporting Moore Park College Athletics. The Hat Restaurant in Simi Valley, since 1951, 68 years of serving the world-famous pastrami, burgers, dogs, chili, open 7 days from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Go to www.thehat.com. Ladin Auto Group, featuring Subaru, a family-owned and operated for 45 years, always close to home. Located in Thousand Oaks Auto Mall, Ladin Subaru. Meathead Movers. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Meathead Movers. Proudly serving Ventura County since 2007. Stonefire Grill, where community is served, dine in, take out, deliver, and catering. Proudly supporting Moore Park College Athletics. Well, after the first quarter, guys, what are your thoughts early on in this game about how dominant Palomar has been?
Well, they've been able to get some speed off the edge on defense, stopping the Moore Park running game from corner to corner and going laterally up the field, which is something they are trying to do. So we'll see how they adjust. Maybe they go run up the middle or play action pass.
Isaiah Johnson comes back on the field as it's a 3rd and 15. Brandon Archibald in the backfield, a veteran from last season, is going to get the handoff, and it's going to be a low snap for a loss of 2.
So you were mentioning after that first quarter of play, it is all Palomar right now. And I was mentioning earlier on, 11 points per game for the Moore Park Raiders that they were able to score. They were actually outscored last season, which was the 3rd season under head coach Mike Stewart. They were outscored last season 314 to 110. They give up just over 300 yards per game, or are only able to get just under 215 yards per game. So they need some quick, easy offense right now to be able to get things started for the Raiders, because if they don't, they're going to be lagging behind, and it's going to end up like last season, basically.
It's going to be another 4th down as Moore Park is forced to punt. Ball's going to drop down there on the 25-yard line, where it's fair caught by Armentrout.
That was one thing I wanted to see if there was going to be difference from last year to this year. This is Mike Stewart's first year actually calling offensive plays on his own. It is his own terminology. It is his own playbook. He's not jumping in midway. And so this season was kind of a hopeful turnaround for the offense, but today we still have the same struggles we had from last year.
And patience is key when it comes to football. Now, like you had just mentioned, that was a great point to bring up, Robert, that like Mike Stewart had talked about us during summer ball here, that this is his first year as the offensive coordinator, and it takes years to develop a flowing offense that can work and fire on all cylinders. So it's not something that's going to get done in one game. This is going to be a process. There's going to be a lot of struggling, but it's going to pay off if they can stick with one-on-one offense. With that being said, it's going to be a 1st down and 10 here as Palomar takes the ball here on the 25-yard line. Thompson hands the ball off. He's going to cut up his right side. He takes a hit, bounces back, but is ultimately tackled for just a short gain. And that was number 12 for the Comets, Deshaun Lee.
Moore Park's defense has been on the field a long time in this first half.
Two players that we're looking forward to seeing this game, as we touched upon it, Antoine Wynn and Ivory Jackson. I did not think we'd be seeing them this much this early, though.
Thompson in the backfield once again, single back set. He's going to get the snap, fake the handoff, look to his left, fire deep downfield. And just off the fingertips of Kyron Griffin, same person that made that spectacular touchdown early on in the game. So that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 9. One thing that I know Thompson has shown early on in this game is that he can throw it. And I think Moore Park is starting to respect that as they're playing back a little bit deeper and they're going with more zone coverages.
They may look to play more aggressively, tighter up on these receivers, try and conserve some time on this clock so their offense can get the ball back.
Thompson gets the snap. He's going to throw it right when he gets it. He's going to catch it and take a lick right there. Daniel Henderson coming in and giving him a good smack. That was number 82, though, with the reception for the Comets, Dennis Garrison. So nice stop there, as it's a nice 3-and-out for the Moore Park defense. And something that you had alluded to earlier, Justin, you're right. If you keep a defense out there so often, the Raiders' offense is constantly punting the ball. It's draining your Moore Park defense, and that is your kryptonite for not basically excelling on the offensive side of the ball. It's a nice job for Moore Park to get a 3-and-out and get off the field. But that is going to be a 4th down and 4 as they're going to punt with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left in the second quarter.
I do believe
Deep punt, as that's going to fall back down to the 25, but it is fair caught by number 15 for the Moore Park Raiders, Jordan Cuevas.
What I was going to say is I do believe that's only their second punt of the game, as opposed to when they first had a punt back on their first drive. They had not punted until then.
And as Robert alluded to, one of the things that I have been impressed with, the offense has not been great for the Raiders, but on the defensive side, besides the 2nd and 3rd drive of the game where they gave up 2 passing touchdowns, they have led Palomar to going 3-and-out and punting. They did allow 1 first down on the first drive, but ever since then, when Palomar doesn't score a touchdown, they force Palomar off the field in 3 plays and having to punt the football. So that is impressive out of the Raiders defense.
Alex Sardi on the field, returning vet from last year as well for the Moore Park Raiders. Johnson is going to get the ball, throw it right when it's caught. Number 5 is going to catch that and make a nice turn up field. Way to catch and grab and go. That was number 5 for the Moore Park Raiders, Dylan Lee.
And I'm interested to see if Moore Park actually does start running the ball more. They got 4 or 5 running backs. They have a lot of depth in that position. I wonder how many they're going to use today.
Dylan Lee was a player that Mike Stewart was very excited to have on the outside. He brings a lot of speed to the wide receiver position.
So it's going to bring up another first down, some momentum that Moore Park hasn't seen thus far. They're starting to build off of. Isaiah Johnson is going to get the call. Dylan Lee looks to get the call from Johnson. Offense all on the same page now as he's in the shotgun single back set. Lee over here, ice out to the shallow side of the field. He's going to get the ball, look to his left. He's going to throw a deep pass down to Lee. And just off the left hand, it's incomplete. There is a flag, though. That is going to be definitely helping out the Raiders as it's going to go against the Palomar Comets on that one.
There's that speed kicking in right there.
Well, and the cornerback got there pretty early and was able to tackle before the ball ended up even near the receiver's hands.
There was holding on the play, and that is going to go against the Comets as the Raiders will get another first down and continue to march down the field. Someone want to bring up Dylan Lee. I mean, you had talked about how Coach Stewart was excited to have him, and it's shown. I mean, we saw what he did with that kick return, taking it from about the 10 down to the 45. He just got a nice little grab right there for a first down, one of the only first down Moore Park's had tonight. And he was inches away from catching that long ball that would have been another huge gain. So Dylan Lee, someone to watch for this Moore Park Raider offense. Isaiah Johnson's going to motion Alex Sardi over the cross. He's going to hand the ball off, but he is going to be tackled right away as that was number 22 on the carry, Tyrese Morrison, as he was swarmed by a red monster of Palomar Comets.
And going back to Dylan Lee, according to reports, Stewart did say that he was a very special player, someone he looks to use quite often this year.
These backs just have not had any blocking in front of them. They're getting eaten up before they get to the line of scrimmage.
Here on the left side of the field, number 11, Keontae Skinner, another one of these athletes that Mike Stewart highly praised. It's going to be a 2nd and 13. Isaiah Johnson's going to be rushed out of the pocket again, scrolling to his right, throwing off his back foot, but it's going to go out of bounds, incomplete to Sardi.
Very interesting there. I thought he had enough space to run, possibly pick up a couple of more yards. He was pointing to the receiver downfield, just wondering if he wasn't comfortable enough to run there to pick up some extra yards, maybe slide down.
I did see a little bit of separation between the wide receiver and the cornerback there. He definitely had both options on the table. Might have been thinking to go for the longer bomb, kind of get his team back into this game a little bit quicker.
And it's going to be a 3rd and 13. There looks to be a timeout for the Moore Park Raiders. Mike Stewart is going to call a timeout here, regroup with his team. And with that, we're going to thank the last of our sponsors. Once again, we couldn't do it without you guys. College football is here. Celebrate with Chick-fil-A, Sycamore Square in Simi Valley. With 11 minutes and 36 seconds left in the second quarter, Palomar has been dominant throughout this entire game, but Moore Park looks to be making some sort of a drive that could potentially put some points on the board.
And as you were alluding to the drive, 2 first downs so far on this drive alone. One was from the pass interference penalty. But one thing that I have been impressed with is Johnson's not being afraid of throwing the football down the field. We've seen here many times just in community college football, some guys are just afraid to throw the football down. For Moore Park College in general, their quarterbacks last season, they didn't take too many shots down the field. So right now, just seeing that he's not afraid, and he actually made a really nice pass to Dylan Lee that was not caught. That was a pass interference penalty. But just some of the passes that he's throwing down and his comfortability to be able to throw the football down is something that I'm impressed with.
And part of Palomar's success has come under head coach Tom Kraft, who was recently elected to the Hall of Fame.
Isaiah Johnson, a single back set, trips out to the right side. He's going to motion out Morrison to the left. He's going to get the snap, looking to his left, hit the screen to Dupree, who's tackled just after making the catch, right back to the line of scrimmage. Dupree Fuller on the catch. That's going to bring up a 4th and 14.
Coach Stewart is looking for several ways to put Dupree into this game. He is our freshman tight end and one of the playmakers that he was very excited about this season. He was actually given #1 on the team for a reason. That's what Coach Stewart said about him. So he speaks very highly. #1 is a very sought-after number on this football team.
And they are going to go for it. I like the aggressive call, not having much success punting it, so you might as well keep going for it. He's going to bring up a 4th and 14. Isaiah Johnson's going to roll out to his right. And it's going to be a quick punt as they catch the Comets off guard.
Not even a bad play call because it is within the first 20 yards, so kind of getting them in the same zone you would get them if a punter was out there live.
Early on, this offensive line for the Moore Park Raiders has been struggling, but like Ryan had alluded to earlier, there are a lot of new faces. Mark Diaz, a freshman, number 77. Shane Shane Daftari, also actually a sophomore. Tevin Townsend, a freshman, and Johan Rodriguez, a freshman. 3 out of the 4 linemen that we were able to see here on the roster are freshmen. So that's definitely causing some problems. But Moore Park can adjust to that. I mean, they're young kids, but they can change as time progresses. You've got to remember, a lot of these people are coming back for a second year. And if they can get the chemistry down, they can be detrimental even as the season goes along. The Comets are going to get the ball at the 18-yard line with 10 minutes and 47 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Thompson with the snap. He's going to do a QB sneak as he takes it for a loss of 3 or 4 as 4 or 5 Raiders come up there. Henderson was on that tackle along with Tafoye coming up on a big play. Jackson was also in on that.
And 2 Moore Park Raiders defenders right there ran into each other, one of which looked a little shaken up. Damon Johnson, a freshman, 6'1", 175, got hit by one of his own teammates right there, trying to walk it off.
You can see he's kind of grabbing his shoulder, too, in a little bit of pain, but he's going to play through it. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 11. Thompson here with the single back set. It's going to go ahead and motion over. Send him back to – he's going to get the snap, look over to his left side, hit him on a nice gain on a little quick out, as that was number 14, once again doing what he's done all night, Johnny Armentrout. And these dink and dunk passes, though they don't seem like much, they add up over time, and they can tire out a defense. These quick little 5-yard outs can be something that Moore Park has to worry about in the future if they don't take care of it. But that will bring up a 3rd down and 4 for the Comets. Ball is on the 23-yard line. Motions over Gamble. going to read the field. He gets the snap, looks over to his right side. He's going to roll out, throw off his back foot, and just underthrown there to his intended receiver, number 9, Kyron Griffin.
And that pass was definitely affected by the pressure of the Raiders defense right in the face of the quarterback there.
Another successful job by the Moore Park defense getting a 3-and-out.
Faced with another third down, Moore Park Raiders step up once again. It's really their fourth down that's only been their only crux in this game thus far.
And back to return for this punt return for the Moore Park Raiders is number 15, Jordan Cuevas, the wide receiver for Moore Park. Palomar's going to kick it, and that's going to be a shallow punt that's going to bounce all the way down, get a nice bounce all the way down to the 30-yard line. Keeps rolling to the 25. What a bounce. Looked like it was going to stop around the 50 and just kept going. Moore Park will take the field with 9 minutes and 29 seconds left here in the second quarter.
As one-sided as this game has been thus far, Moore Park's still very much in this game with 9:29 still in the first half. One touchdown gets them right within one score again.
Excellent point. Within 14 points, the game is within reach. Even within 21 points, the game is within reach. But Moore Park has to start executing quickly because Palomar is pursuing to score. Johnson back in the backfield with the single back set. He's going to motion over Sardi, but there looks to be a false start as another flag is thrown as a false start penalty for the Moore Park Raiders. That's going to back him up another 5 yards, as it will now be a 1st and 15.
And half the line just threw their hands up in the air. They knew exactly what happened.
On the field for the wide receiver position, we have Reese Smith, number 80, number 84, Alex Sardi, number 5, Dylan Lee, and number 3, Jalil Lipkin.
It is very tough to come back when you keep shooting yourself in the foot. This is something Moore Park is going to have to try to climb out of once again.
Isaiah Johnson in the backfield. He's going to go ahead and motion over Sardi once again. Hand the ball off right away. Falls over his own player, breaks a tackle, and gets right back to where they originally would have been. Looks to be a little bit of a scuffle, but nothing too big, as Moore Park picks up 7 yards on the carry.
And Palomar has to be careful. They want to stay physical, but they don't want to lose their composure in the secondary there. No unnecessary penalties to end this half. They've kept the momentum. They want to keep increasing it as this game goes along.
One thing I will say to that, I am very happy that Coach Stewart is continuing to keep the run game in this game. It's really hard when you're down. You want to go straight to the pass, take this away, but you got to keep them both play calls in just to have both opportunities.
Johnson's going to throw a hit. Alex Sardi, who is tackled right after the catch, and that's going to be a nice gain of about 5 yards, as it's going to bring up a 3rd and short. One thing that someone we haven't seen since the second drive is actually not Isaiah Johnson, rather Trey Johnson, who took the first 2 drives, was unsuccessful, and just like that, it's been all Isaiah Johnson for the rest of the game. Now, we don't know what the cause of him not playing right now is, but what I can tell you is when it's this early on in the game, all starting spots are still up for grabs. It's really fresh. You're really getting your first real look at how you play under pressure. But it is going to be a 3rd and 1, as Dylan Lee is going to be here on the far side. Isaiah Johnson in the shotgun again. Going to hand it off. Who's going to take it just enough to get that first down? Number 22, Tyree Morrison. Tyree Morrison definitely been the only back we've really seen tonight, and for good reason. He just picked up a first down for Moore Park Raiders and keeping this drive alive. Johnson gets the call from the coach. Another first down for the Raiders as there's 7:42 left in this game. Johnson single back set, Morrison to his left. He's going to get the snap, fake the handoff, hit Sardi, takes a hit. And a late call coming in there. Defenseless receiver most likely. Sardi still feeling that one.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark. He may be feeling that for a couple of weeks at least.
He looks to be okay, though, as he runs back to the huddle. Always good to see the players shake it off.
So defensively, we talked about how opportunistic this team has been. They've already gotten 1 interception in this game. They had 14 defensive interceptions last season, so look for that to be a storyline also heading into the end of this half and into the second half.
Johnson comes back to the huddle to rally the troops. in right now at running back, someone we haven't seen too much tonight, number 24, Malik Meeks. They are going to back this up. It looks to have gone against the Moore Park Raiders.
That one is a bit surprising. Don't know who they called it on there, but back up 15 yards. That's going to be a huge detriment for this first down.
So it's going to be a first and long, as it is a 1st and 25 for the Moore Park Raiders. Johnson with a single back set, 4 wide. Going to get the snap, take a 3-step drop back, throwing off his foot. Dropped, caught, dropped, and dropped. You can see the frustration as it just slipped through the hands of number 80 for the Raiders, Reese Smith.
And, as a receiver, you need to keep your eyes on the ball before running upfield. That usually when you see drop passes like that, it's because you take your eyes off and you start running before you ever secured the ball.
Ball first. That's what they say, ball first. It's going to be 2nd now, 25. Raiders not having much success tonight on the offensive game. 4 wide, single bat set. Morrison to the right side of Johnson. Going to go ahead and motion Cuevas across. Fake the handoff to Morrison. Morrison's going to break a tackle and pick up a nice gain of 4 to 5 yards. And pardon me, that's not Morrison. That is actually Meeks on the carry.
This is going to be another 3rd and long. Look for possibly a screen pass. Last season, Moore Park used a lot of that in 3rd and long yardage, trying to get some of that yardage back in a sort of more conservative manner.
Bringing in a couple of the big guys here. Number 1 coming into the huddle, Dupree Fuller, that tight end we talked about. He's 6'4", 235 out of El Camino Real. So we got a trip set on the wide side here. Morrison to the right side of Johnson. Shotgun set. He's going to get the snap, look to his left. He's going to throw. What a dart. He hits him, but nearly intercepted by number 27 of the Palomar Comets. Just bouncing right in between his fingers. That is David Quintina.
One of the things that I keep seeing play after play from Moore Park, as you alluded to, Nick, they did bring in some bigger guys on that last play, but one thing that I have seen is the pressure keeps getting to them. The pressure keeps getting them. They need to bring more players in the backfield, make sure that they protect the quarterback, because almost every single time Palomar is sending 5-6 guys and the offensive line isn't trained well enough to be able to block for them. You need to protect the quarterback right now, and that's a big issue.
So it's going to be a 4-25. Moore Park's going to be forced to punt, and the punt is somehow not blocked. He's able to get it off, even though there's 3 defenders right there. That ball's going to bounce all the way down to the 30-yard line. Wow. That I don't understand how that wasn't blocked, actually. There was 3 comments right there. Somehow, Haig Mokshian, a veteran punter for the Moore Park Raiders, was able to kick it in between their hands and got a nice bounce with it. So the Comets are going to go ahead and take the ball on the 30-yard line with 6:24 left to go here in the second quarter. Ryan, I wanted to piggyback off of what you were talking about earlier. They don't have any pressure. You're right. The Moore Park Raiders, they don't have time. They're not able to develop any sort of play or scheme because they can't even run the ball. If you can't run the ball, then you're forced to pass. If you're forced to pass and you can't pass, the defense can now eliminate the idea of you running the ball because they know you don't have the strength with your offensive line to do it. So that basically means they have to throw every down, and it shuts down their ability of variety. With that being said, though, it's going to be a 1st down and 10 here on the 31-yard line. Thompson's going to motion number 28 for the Palomar Comets, Lamar Robitaille. And then he's going to throw off his right side. Number 9, wide open. Barely gets tackled as he takes a huge throw and makes that in for a nice chunk of yardage. Number 9 on that carry. Once again, Kyron Griffin.
Gibbons might have been nervous to let that one go. The ball was up in the air for quite a while. He could have jumped right in front of it, but he decided to play the man instead, not let him get right behind him.
And what an
go long
incredible
for a
amount.
touchdown.
What an incredible amount of athleticism to jump up and catch that ball.
Empty back set. Going to motion Robitaille to his left side. Thompson scans the field, gets a snap, hands off to Robitaille, who takes a hit, but still carries the ball for a nice chunk of 5 yards, as the Comets will now have a 2nd and 5.
And that's going to be dangerous if the Comets are continually able to get those chunk yardage plays, because I'm seeing out of the pass plays, they're having a lot of press man coverage off to the outside, especially with number 18, Colby Williams, who was beat on the previous pass play. What the Comets are able to do is they're able to get right past the first line of the secondary, and they need to be able to back it up a little bit, because I don't think these guys can be able to play press man coverage, at least what I've seen so far.
Two guys to really watch out for the Moore Park defense, for the Comets. Number 9, Kyron Griffin, and number 14, Armatrout. He's going to hand out to Robital, though, who's going to get hit, stay on his feet somehow, and pick up another yard or two. And those yards add up over time, guys. I mean, putting your hand out and just stretching out for a yard at a time is going to ultimately build momentum, success, and confidence in your offense. But, yeah, two people that Moore Park really need to look for to shut down, number 14, Johnny Armentrout, and number 9, Kieran Griffin.
Here goes another third down for the Moore Park Raiders. Let's see if they can be successful on this down once again.
Armentrout and Griffin both on the left side together. Dangerous combo right there.
And the D just jumped.
Moore Park trying to jump the blitz too early. Going to get
They're going to
encroachment.
Well, what we're wondering right now, did the offense bait him into it? And did somebody jump early on the offensive side of the ball for a false start?
Waiting for the call right now. It looks to be offsides against the Moore Park Raiders. And that's going to be enough to get them a first down. So,
once again, they're on the fringe of field goal range.
And actually, that's a good point you brought that up. That's something we haven't seen yet tonight, so we don't really know what kind of potential that either of these kickers have for either team. But, yeah, they are starting to get in that field goal range. Once you start getting inside that 30, you got to watch out for a field goal unit.
And they are actually marking it with third and I'd say
third
about a
and
foot.
An inch. Yeah, third and an inch right there. Very, very close, but it is still third down, so Moore Park not entirely hurting from that penalty. 3 wide, single back set. Thompson's going to get the snap. Pressure coming. He's going to throw wide open, and it's intercepted by number 22, 2-0 for the Moore Park Raiders. That was Mike Lopez. Nobody in the vicinity of that throw. The Raiders are able to execute, and those are what we call gimmies. When they're going to throw something like that to you, you need to execute. Moore Park did a great job of getting the ball back to the offense.
They brought that same blitz that they were looking to bring before. Unfortunately, look for after the interception, there was a hit on the field.
Well, and Lopez, he's one of the newcomers for this defense, a freshman, 6 foot 165 out of Orlando, Florida.
And in fact, this entire secondary is practically new besides number 21, Peyton Shelton. I mean, the Moore Park Raiders had Alatorre at one point. He's gone now. Dylan Chong, he's gone now. A lot of these veteran secondary athletes that are no longer with the Moore Park Raiders. So Shelton is someone that really needs to step up because he's the only returner coming on the secondary.
And that's dangerous to be able to have a whole new set of defensive backs, because that's going to be that part that we've been that the Moore Park Raiders have been struggling with a little bit, and you need to be able to get them all working on the same page, working as a team together.
And I don't know if there was I think there was a penalty on the Moore Park Raiders because now they're on the 2-yard line. 98-yard drive to go. Isaiah Thompson in the own end zone. He's going to pass it to Archibald, fake the handoff, but it is going to be knocked away as it slips right through the hands of Smith.
With as leaky as the offensive line has been, this is going to be a worry. This safety right here is very possible. The Raiders got to look out for that and keep it in front of the line of scrimmage for them.
And it's very interesting. They went aggressive, pass first on a first down in the end zone. A very risky move considering the offensive line. An aggressive play call to start here.
And we've also been mentioning the lack of running plays by Moore Park and lack of running success as well, and that might be one of the cases why they're passing the football on that first down.
So you have isolated all by himself here on the left side. You got Smith. You got a trip to the right side. Single back set with Archibald in the backfield. Johnson's going to just grab and go. He's going to hit a receiver who breaks a tackle. Who breaks another and just barely taken down by his ankle. What a great, great run by number 3 for the Moore Park Raiders, Jahil Lipkin, who's actually a returner as well, veteran from this 2018 Moore Park Raider team.
And Ryan, to piggyback off your point about the running backs, they have a lot of depth there, and they were looking to use the legs more this season.
Archibald in the backfield. Johnson once again the shotgun. He's just going to do another grab and go. You got to be careful with that kind of throw. That almost looked like it was a behind the back pass, which would then therefore be a fumble, but luckily it just rolls out of bounds.
As you were mentioning, Justin, though, they do have depth at the running back position, but maybe not going to it as much, or maybe they're also seeing the game plan and seeing that they're being stopped for a loss of yards most of the time or just back to the line of scrimmage. But it's interesting to see that they're not bringing out multiple running backs, trying to get different schemes and trying to run off of the tackle, maybe trying to get to the outside, because right now it seems like Palomar is able to stop the run on almost every single drive.
And they're 4 deep with Archibald, Malachi Meeks, and Tyree Morrison. We've seen all of them today.
Dylan Lee isolated to the far side of it. Johnson's going to look for Lee. Isn't open, so he's going to take it and run it himself. He's going to call for a block or two. There looked like there was a face mask. I see a flag right there, and he's going to pick up a nice chunk of yards. We're going to see if it's going to stay, though.
That's what we need to see more of from this Moore Park offense. Some quarterback decision-making inside the pocket, trying to find those open seams.
He doesn't look like much of a scrambler, but getting off of that one, he was quick to his feet and able to pick up just enough yards to be just a little short of that next first down.
And there's 3 minutes and 19 seconds left here in the second quarter as the Comets are up 14-0 against the Moore Park Raiders. It is going to be was against the Moore Park Raiders, so it is going to be a 2nd and 12 now. Ball is spotted at the 23-yard line here.
Penalties
Once again, we have Reese Smith, Alex Sardi, and number 3, Jalil Lipkin. Here on the trips to the left side, Brandon Archibald in the backfield, Isaiah Johnson at QB. He's going to get the snap. Look, feels the pressure, takes it himself once again. Pushes to pick up a couple yards. It's going to be a stalemate as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Pardon me, as he picks up 2 yards.
And Moore Park does have some timeouts to play with, so they may look to use them on the rest of this drive. They can milk some clock and try to score before the end of the half.
And any momentum that Moore Park can build off is going to be crucial coming into the second half. A lot of teams go into the first half thinking the game's over, and it's only the first half of the game. Moore Park has to keep their head up and keep punching, keep pounding away to come back out for the second half. But yes, Justin, like you alluded to, any sort of success would be crucial right now. It's going to be a 3rd and 10 right now for the Moore Park Raiders. Isaiah Johnson gets the snap, throws to his right side, as that is Dylan Lee, who gets hit right after the catch for a gain of about 7.
And tonight, he seems to be the #1 option for this quarterback system today. A highly touted recruit that Stewart looked to input right away.
Now you're looking at a 4th down here. That's one of the things, that penalty really kills that momentum, and now we have a risky play on our hands.
4th and 2. Moore Park undoubtedly going to go for it in this situation, down by 14 with no success in the punting game. Ball here on the 38-yard line. Pardon me, the 33-yard line.
This play call actually makes me nervous. I don't know. I might play it conservative and just punt the ball away and go into the half, go only down 14-0. Missing this could be a risky one.
Number 14, someone we haven't seen yet tonight, Rayshawn Williams, the cornerback and wide receiver who is listed at 6'4", from Crenshaw, California. But there's another timeout.
And that could be to talk it over. Robert, basically what you alluded to. Do we punt it in this situation? Only down 2 touchdowns, not wanting to risk going down 3. That could be what this timeout is for, to discuss the strategy moving forward.
Right, it's almost like that greedy mindset, right, Justin? You kind of want to just keep going for it regardless of where the situation is, but you got to think about the long run. If they don't get this first down, Palomar is in knocking distance of a field goal unit.
I think also with the lack of offensive success for the Raiders, I think you have to think of inside your own 35-yard line at the 33, you're going to be setting the Comets up with great field position. If they get 1 first down, they're able to kick a field goal and be able to go up 17-0. So I think you got to think it over a little bit, but lack of offensive success, I would probably punt the football.
And it appears that's what they're doing.
Number 14 for the Palomar Comets to return, Johnny Armentrout, someone whose name has been called quite a bit tonight. Hage Maxian's going to kick it off. And that ball's going to go right into the hands of Armin Trout as he takes the ball right there on the 30-yard line. Comets coming out for another drive.
One thing I will say from this Moore Park defense that I've been seeing, after every punt, they have had a bend but don't break mentality, only going down 14-0, and both of those coming on fourth down plays. This team has done a really good job of holding them when they get closer into that red zone.
With just 1 minute and 1 second remaining in the second quarter, Palomar looks to get a quick drive out and put a couple more points on the board before going in halftime. Overall, Palomar's offense has been rather quiet these last couple drives, but has still had enough success to have a nice, comfortable lead over the Moore Park Raiders tonight.
And that bend, don't break attitude, as Robert was alluding to, ever since the third drive of the game when they got the 32-yard passing touchdown, the other 4 drives after that, they've had to punt the football or they threw an interception. So great job by the Raiders defense.
Wiggin in the backfield. He's going to hand it off. Who's clobbered up right there at the line of scrimmage by Daniel Henderson.
And Palomar also has multiple timeouts to play with as well. They can look to use them and run the football, maybe set up a field goal unit. If they get a pass downfield, they will be able to possibly set up for a touchdown.
Not much urgency here. Doesn't look like they're trying to do anything too dangerous, you should say. But looks like they're probably just going to run out the clock going into halftime with a nice comfortable lead of 14. Thompson gets the call, checks the time on the clock, obviously looking to run it down. Motions Armin Trout, fakes the handoff, throws it to Armin Trout, who picks up 7-8 yards there, but stepped out of bounds, so the clock will stop. But he's going to bring up a third down and 4.
And that's the exact type of mentality I was speaking of, throwing it outside the numbers, trying to get to the sideline, conserve time, see if you can march down the field and at least knock on the door of field goal range if you're Palomar here.
Third down and 4 with just 15 seconds left to go in the game. On the field right now, we have Johnny Armin Trout. You have number 9, Kieran Griffin. Armin Trout is motioned across the field. Motion right back to his original placement. He's going to roll out. Thompson's going to get the snap, feels the pressure. He's going to roll out. Just throw it, takes a lick, but it is intercepted by Colby Williams, number 18 for the Moore Park Raiders.
And he got down. It gives Moore Park's offense a shot at the end zone, possibly one play out of bounds, and then a field goal attempt if they have enough time.
That is one of the risks you run by trying to save clock and rush the play down and try to score before the end of the half. You do have the risk of a risky play on the other side, and now Moore Park has an opportunity to score.
Now, looking at the time, too, 6 seconds is quite enough to get a quick slant out, quick 4 or 5 second play, and still have enough time to kick a field goal. Number 14 coming back out again, someone we haven't seen tonight. He's going to be there on the far side. That is Rashawn Williams.
Just to say, last year our kicker, Heg Mashian, he was able to go, he went 3 for 3 in his field goal attempts, and he did have a long of 40, so that might be something they're looking at today.
Eddie and Bada finally in tonight for the first time. They are going to go deep with it, as he's going to throw it way deep, but he gets knocked. There is a PI, though, a clear pass interference by Palomar. That's going to give Moore Park one more opportunity to score, and that's going to put them inside the red zone.
Also, one thing that I alluded to earlier on in the game was Johnson not being afraid to throw the football down the field. So with that confidence, it was actually a pretty decent pass out there inside the 5, and it set them up with even better field position now because of that pass interference call. But I was just impressed with Moore Park Raiders quarterback Isaiah Johnson's ability to be able to throw it downfield and the lack of any fear and that confidence that he does have.
And football really is just such a strange game, how things can shift just that fast. Justin and I, we were talking about momentum earlier on in this game, and look at what just happened. There were 6 seconds left in the game. Thompson just tries to throw it away. It gets intercepted by Williams. Johnson just tries to throw a deep ball, gets the pass interference. Now all of a sudden, the Moore Park Raiders, within a mere 6 seconds of game time play, went from being on defense to now having the ball on the 30-yard line and setting themselves up for a chance to score their first points of the game with this field goal.
It's an incredibly long field goal.
And that's
47
Hags Mokshian
yards.
once again, the veteran kicker, number 97. It's going to be a 47-yard attempt as he's going to kick it. Does it have the distance? No, off the right goal post. No good. What an attempt, though, by Hags Mokshian. But just short, just short. Moore Park will go into the locker room scoreless. Palomar up 14-0 at the end of the first half of this game. Final thoughts on the first half of this game, guys?
So if you're Moore Park, there's a couple things to clean up. You want to get the running game going. Penalties have killed you. Once again, that was a narrative in the first half. They averaged just 12.2 points per game through non-conference play last season. They're going to need to step up their play to surpass that average heading into this year.
If I was in the locker room and I was one of the defensive back coaches, I'd be proud of my guys right now. They came out with 2 interceptions, kind of got some momentum back for this Moore Park team, and it's something they can build on in the next half.
One thing Moore Park really has to work on, as Justin alluded to, is working on their run offense, but also their defense. Their defense has been stepping it up, but you got to make sure that you're able to cover. You got to make sure that you have guys on those wideouts, because when I saw a couple plays with press man coverage, they were beat, and they were beat pretty easily. So make sure that you're able to come up with a scheme to be able to stop the Comets, but when you stop, you need to be able to score. They need to get up on the board in the third quarter, or it's going to be over. They need something quick for the Moore Park Raiders.
And if you're Palomar, the success you've had has come from the elusiveness of your quarterback, stepping up into the pocket and throwing shots downfield and that quick lateral running to the outside.
And my final thoughts on it would be Palomar has been executing, but only in extreme conditions of quote-unquote stress. When we've seen fourth downs a couple times, Thompson's done a great job of getting the ball out and sometimes throwing off his back foot, scoring a couple of those touchdowns, 1 to Gamble and 1 to Griffin. But Moore Park has some momentum to come away with. Though they missed that field goal, they're starting to come together defensively. We've seen them laying some hits. We've seen an interception now, and they've got a couple 3-and-outs for this powerful Comets offense. So Moore Park also starting to come together. With that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the first half here of the Moore Park Raider versus Palomar Comet game so far. So stay tuned. We'll be right back for the second half. And we're back to the second half of the Moore Park Raiders as they play the Palomar Comets. First half didn't go the way that the Raiders intended, coming up with 0 points offensively, but they did come away with 2 interceptions defensively. Palomar did receive the first half of this game, so they will be kicking off to the Raiders for the second half of the game, as Moore Park looks to have a different outcome than they did early on thus far.
And I'm sure Coach Stewart gave a halftime speech about cleaning up those penalties, trying to get the offense in a rhythm, whether it's a rushing attack or more passing.
And we are underway for the second half as the ball is going to go down to the 10-yard line where it is returned, taking it down to the 20. The ball does come out. There is a fumble on the play.
And
it is Palomar's ball.
Not the way that Moore Park wanted to start this half. Palomar continues their momentum. 14-0 lead going into the half. They have an opportunity to increase it now.
Kendall White with the fumble, one of the running backs here for the Moore Park Raiders.
And that's one thing you can do if you're the Raiders. The offensive struggles in the first half. This was the chance for them to come out with them fresh legs, not even having to wait on the sideline any bit. You could stretch, you get your game plan ready, but now you have to deal with defense right away. You need to be able to score if you're the Raiders. In the start of this third quarter, though, to be able to at least have a chance in this one, because it's going to get out of hand, especially if Palomar is able to score right now.
Palomar comes out in their normal formation. Motions across the running back on his right side. Thompson's going to get it, hand the ball off, right up the middle for a chunk of yards.
And Moore Park had 9 fumbles lost last season. That's one of their first this season. Look to curb that heading into this half as well. Palomar can strike very early here.
And it's going to be a 2nd and 5. Thompson's going to get the ball handoff once again. Flag is thrown, and it's just short of a first down. On the run there for the Palomar Comets, it was number 23, Twain Reed Jr., someone we haven't seen too much tonight.
Palomar might be looking to start the run game right here. Both games couldn't really establish a run for either of them. Rodney Thompson happens to be the highest rusher with 22 yards so far on this team.
Well, and they can afford to be a bit more conservative with a 14-0 lead. They can bleed the clock a little bit. Looks like there was a penalty that is going to be moving them back. So they will have to start now behind the chains.
And that's going to bring up now a 2nd and 14 for Palomar. Moore Park defense already in an uncomfortable position to start off the second half. Can they get this 3 and out? Thompson scans the field. Gets the snap. Is rolled out to the pocket, feels the pressure, throws off his back foot. hits his target for a nice gain of 10 yards. Once again, who else? Number 9, Kieran Griffin.
And that was a gorgeous strike because he had to use extra arm strength on that play, throwing off his back foot to be able to get enough zip on the ball. 3rd and manageable now.
Griffin and Armatrout both on the far left side of the field. 2 deadliest targets for the Palomar wide receiving core. Tweed motion out to the left side. Thompson's going to throw a dart right to him. There is a flag on the play, but he does pick up more than enough for a first down. We will see if the play will stand.
And the key to a play like that is to get the ball out quick, because when a blitz is shown and it's a screen pass to the outside, you have less of an opportunity to wait to throw that football.
And that play is not going to stand. There was a holding call against the Palomar offensive line, so that's going to bring up another 3rd down and even longer. 3rd, and they're going to mark it here at about a 3rd and 15.
Moorpark might be able to continue their previous success on 3rd downs. They're going to try to look to get this one off with just a field goal and not go down as many as 3 touchdowns in this game.
And if you're Palomar, you cannot let yourself kick yourself in the butt right now because, I mean, Moorpark's defense has been decent on this drive, but has been penalty after penalty against the Comets. What you need to do is you need to score right now because you have great field position. You cannot throw it away with penalties.
Their big guy, the wide receiver, Logan Gamble on the short side. He's going to throw it right there. It hit him in stride, just a little bit behind, but enough to get that first down. So that penalty had no long-term impact for the Comets as they bounce back and pick up a first down.
And something that Coach had touched on with regards to defense is that they are going to be playing a lot of man-to-man, which means they're going to be blitzing a lot in the box and hoping that their corners can play one-on-one with these receivers.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line as they are knocking at the end zone. Thompson in the shotgun once again. Gets the snap. Throws right off this right side. Back corner of the end zone. Williams knocks the ball away.
Good pressure right there off the edge. Something that Moorpark was looking to do heading into this season and starting these road games is talking about crowd noise. They were using some speakers sometimes in practice to get used to this environment. There are a lot of fans here, and it could be useful for them to have that kind of environment to know going in how they should react.
Damon Wigged coming into the game, someone we haven't seen too much tonight, number 4 for Palomar. At the running back position, where he's joined alongside Reed Jr. He's motioned out to the left side of the field, though. Thompson sees the pressure, just throws it up in the corner of the end zone, and it's dropped just through the hands. That was number 9 once again for Palomar, Griffin.
Interesting enough, this is their 3rd attempt at a red zone. Moorpark has actually been able to shut them out once they've gotten into the red zone. Both of the touchdowns have been from outside the red zone. So we'll see if Moorpark can once again maintain that bend but don't break mentality.
Nizon Jefferson is going to check into the game. Wide receiver, 5'11", 190 pounds from San Diego. Thompson reading the defense, gets the snap, looks to his right side, feels the pressure, rolling out the right side, breaks a tackle, still going to the right side, cuts up field, takes it himself, takes a hit, and picks up a nice chunk of yards on a nice gain. With all that pressure coming, was able to break through a tackle and pick up 7 yards, but it is going to be 4th down.
And pretty impressive defense right now we're seeing out of the Raiders, able to get some pressure on the quarterback. But one thing that I am pretty impressed about with the red zone defense from Moorpark is on the Palomar Comets team, they have a couple really big wide receivers. We see Kyron Griffin, number 9, he's 6'3". They also have number 7, Logan Gamble, who's 6'6".
And they are going to go for the field goal, number 46 for Palomar. One of the 2 kickers here on this team, Noah Lopez, who we saw early on in this game, is going to kick it, and it's going to go right through the uprights as Palomar does come away with some points on that turnover, now going up 17-0.
And Palomar clearly having the advantage right now. In terms of their record, even though they finished 6-5 last season, they were 3-1 at home. So they clearly use that advantage to get to a bowl game as well, something they could look to going on into this season.
And while we have a short break in action, we do want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. We could not do without any of you guys. Thank you for making all this possible. U.S. Army, going a business trip with a company like no other. U.S. Army. Big brand tire and service. Big on fast, big on friendly. Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo is recommitted to helping all of our customers succeed financially. Wells Fargo, established in 1952, reestablished in 2018. Palomar will kick it off. Moore Park very unsuccessful thus far on the offensive side of the ball, but still it's plenty of time to play as there's 11 minutes and 20 seconds left here in this third quarter. Let's see what they can do. Kick is underway. It's going to fall down inside the 5-yard line where it is received. It is lateraled right behind where they're going to pick it up, and he's down by the 30-yard line. He's going to take it all the way down to the 35. What a run, and a rather strange option to lateral backwards like that, but it did benefit.
Very risky for the Moore Park Raiders. Special teams has been something that's kind of hindered their momentum so far. In the very beginning, when they kicked the ball, it went out of bounds, and that was a penalty from the start. And this right at the start of this half, we had a muffed kick and gave the ball back to Palomar. So for them to do something as risky as that on a kickoff, and it still worked out for them. Lucky for them.
And that was Kenyon Skinner on the return, number 11.
Interestingly enough, also, the two largest returns were 30-plus yards for the Moore Park Special Teams unit. So they have had a couple of bright spots. Let's see if they can look to capitalize. That was brought back, it appears.
Isaiah Johnson will take the field for the first time in the second half. Eddie Mbada in for only the second time tonight. He wasn't on that final play of the first half. The biggest running back that Moore Park does have, without a doubt, listed here at 6'3", 220 pounds, actually from the Netherlands. Bada is going to get the handoff, break a tackle, cut outside. Going to lower his shoulder, and he's going to pick up 7 or 8 yards right there. Bada, a monster when it comes to running the ball.
And that's great to be able to see Bada come out here, at least if you're a Moore Park Raider fan, because he is, as you mentioned, Nick, one of the biggest running backs, but he's strong. He showed that he could lower the shoulder. He went through a couple of injuries his time here at Moore Park as well to show that he has that confidence still in his body to be able to run straight to the middle, to be able to run straight into defenders is great to see, and it's great to see, especially if you're rooting here for the Raiders.
Isaiah Johnson in the shotgun. Dylan Lee isolated on the far side. Going to hand it off to Bada once again, who's going to break it outside, cut up field, lower shoulder, pick up a first down, pardon me.
And he's 220 pounds, so he's able to lower that shoulder and be physical with defenders because he has that size and strength.
We mentioned how Moore Park was unsuccessful on the offensive end throughout basically the whole entire time in the first half. So to be able to have a first down run right here, that could be able to open up so much for their offense to give Johnson and the other quarterbacks a little bit more time for the Raiders to be able to make some plays.
And one of the linemen for the Moore Park Raiders, unfortunately, has just gone down. He tried to walk up the field, but wasn't able to do it under his own 2 feet. I was not able to get the number at the moment, but we will find out soon enough. You hate to see when that happens. You always hope he's going to be okay and he'll be able to get up on his own 2 feet. But with that being said, we do want to thank a couple more of our sponsors here. We have UCLA Health, a proud sponsor of Moore Park College Athletics with neighborhood offices in Simi Valley, Porter Ranch, Thousand Oaks, Ventura, and Westlake Village. The very best care is now closer to you. UCLA Health. It begins with you. Pegasus Transit Incorporated. We are the answer to your transportation needs. In-N-Out Burger. Freshness you can taste. Simi Valley Auto Center. A proud sponsor of Moore Park College Athletics. DCH Lexus of Oxnard. Proudly supporting education and Moore Park College football. Lexus, experience amazing. PennyMac. Let us tackle all your mortgage needs. PennyMac, the lender you can call home. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. SoCal Life powered for 125 years. IBEW, local number 47, is a proud sponsor of Moore Park College Raiders. And it was good to see that he was able to walk off on his own 2 feet. That did look to be number 66 for the Moore Park Raiders, George Mudadites. Isaiah Johnson back in the shotgun once again. Going to throw it on the right side of the field. Wide open is Lee, who breaks a tackle, stays on his feet, and picks up 5 more yards. Very shifty on that play.
Lee has been the only receiver kind of moving the ball for this Moore Park Raiders. Prior to that, at the half, he had 3 receptions for 50 yards. He's the only person moving the chains for this Moore Park Raiders on the wide receiver side.
Another first down here. Johnson's going to hand the ball off to Bata. Last second's going to keep it himself. It lowers his shoulder. What I'm seeing so far right now in the Moore Park offense is they're starting to be a little bit more aggressive here with Johnson and Bata.
Well, interesting, good read there by the quarterback. It looked like it was almost a sloppy exchange, some stumbling out of the gate, but able to get to the outside.
That's going to be a 2nd down and 2.
Bata has been a battering ram, dare I say.
2nd down. Johnson's going to fake the throw. He's going to make a spin move. He's just short as a 3rd and 1.
Clearly trying to get the quarterback more involved in the running game as well.
Moore Park coming out with a larger package than they've had all night. Number 1, Dupree Fuller is in there at 6'4", Eddie and Bata, who's 6'2", and Isaiah Johnson, who's also 6'2". These are some big guys they have in for the Moore Park offense. It is going to be a 3rd and 2. Johnson scans the field in the normal formation, gets the snap, hands it off to Bata, who's tackled behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up a 4th down and 4 for the Moore Park Raiders.
Well, and Moore Park may look to go for it, try to ignite this offense. They need to be careful not to run the ball too much. They're going to start telegraphing plays for this defense.
And one thing you're seeing out of Moore Park's offense right now, we were mentioning the running attack that they're having. But one thing that you have to do is you have to balance it. Right now, just on that set of downs, they didn't balance it. 3 straight running plays, and that's why they were stopped for a loss. They need to switch it up with a pass play.
Well, and now they're in a passing down situation.
4th and 4, they are going to go for it like they've gone for it all night. Johnson barely gets a snap, throws off his back foot, hits his target for the 1st down, Moore Park Raiders. Who else? Dylan Lee.
Their biggest first down of the day. When it comes to 4th down conversions, they did have 7 last year.
Dylan Lee, the leading receiver for the Moore Park Raiders, first half with 55 yards. It's going to bring up another 1st down. Johnson in his normal formation. Single back set, fakes the handoff. Going to hit him right away, grab and go. Lee breaks another tackle, gets pushed outside just inside the 30. They're going to mark him down at about the 29-yard line.
2 consecutive first downs for the Moore Park Raiders. They're finally starting to build some momentum on this offensive side.
That's going to bring up a 2nd down and 1 with 7 minutes and 19 seconds left in the game. Palomar up 17-0. For the first time tonight, Moore Park is seeing some momentum consistently with the offense, and it definitely is coming from the passing game along with help from Bata in the running game.
And this is their most successful drive of the night with 3 first downs so far.
Trips left, ISO to the right. Johnson gets the snap, fakes it to Bata, keeps it himself. Great read, cuts up the middle, lowers his shoulder, and picks up 15 yards on that one.
Clearly, Stewart ignited something in that locker room because everything has clicked so far on this drive. They look to set up the passing game through the running attack. So if they throw it deep, it's through this running attack, and they will look for the dink and dunk passes down the sideline.
And 4 first downs so far on this drive, but great job by Johnson. He was able to see the edge rusher go straight towards the running back, and he held him himself and had a quarterback keeper. That was a great job option play right there by Johnson. And one thing that we're seeing out of Johnson, even when he hands it off to Bata, he's one of the lead blockers. He's putting his helmet down, and he's showing that he will do whatever it takes to be able to get a first down for this Moore Park Raiders team.
Archibald is coming in to replace Bata. Bata goes out. There was a penalty against the Moore Park Raiders. It was holding, so it's going to take them back here to the 35-yard line, pardon me. And penalties. What can we say? Moore Park has to get it together if they want to have success and ultimately come away with a victory tonight. So it is going to be 2nd and 7. Brandon Archibald now in the backfield for the first time in the second half. Johnson gets a snap, but it is muffed. He picks it right up, just throws it off his back foot, wide open to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown Raiders. Dylan Lee for a 35-yard bomb by Isaiah Johnson.
That is not how Moore Park Mike Stewart wrote that play up, but he will take it. They need that touchdown to keep in this game.
And good on that quarterback for being able to take that hit under pressure and still deliver a dart downfield.
I mentioned that Moore Park needs to produce in the start of the 3rd quarter. This can be a way that the Raiders can be able to get back into this game. And great plays. It was 3 first downs in that drive since that last first down was brought back with a penalty, but great job by the Raiders.
It is 17-6 now. Mokshin going for the PAT. If he gets this will make it 17-7. Straight through the uprights, and that's what we're getting. 17-7. Moore Park able to capitalize on a rather lucky, not maybe so lucky, but lucky in the way that it bounced right back to Johnson. He came away with a rather strange play, but ultimately executed well.
As Ryan alluded to earlier, Isaiah Johnson not afraid to throw the ball down the field, especially with the pressure coming in. He was able to get that one off and once again throw it downfield as he's been doing all game.
And what this will do is it will ignite the sideline and give them a sense of belief. Now only down 10, very manageable situation in this half. They can clearly come back in this game. And Johnson, he has the arm for the downfield passing attack we alluded to, which is set up by that running game that works so effectively in this first drive of the half.
You got to think without that muffed kickoff from the start of the half, it would be a one-possession game right now if they didn't have that mistake.
And it is going to be Palomar's ball here after the kickoff. 6 minutes and 20 seconds left. Pretty quick scoring drive by Moore Park. Less than 2 minutes to get points on the board once they obtain possession. And like you were talking about, Justin, it does build confidence in the Moore Park offense, and that's something they're going to need in order to build off of tonight and be successful. Eddie Mbata, who we've seen all over the field tonight, is coming in for the kickoff. The number 2 runner on the right side here. Kick is underway. It's going to be a shallow kick. Just off the hands. It was muffed. It's on the ground. Who's got it? There is a flag.
There is a flag. Moore Park has signaled themselves that they got it. We'll see if what the officials say.
Does look like Palomar came away with it, and that's what they're going to rule. Palomar did come away. I do like the kick call, though, by Mike Stewart right there. Gutsy, but it could have paid off.
I was wondering if it was by design to get it up in the air, see if Palomar would touch it to make it a live ball.
Offsides on the Raiders. Someone jumped across the line a little bit too fast before that ball was kicked off. So once again, this penalty is going to go against the Raiders.
See if it's enforced or if they will have to re-kick.
Palomar's offense talking like they are going to go back on the field. Moore Park's defense on the field. So it does look like they aren't going to re-kick, but they will probably just enforce that penalty on the drive. But while we have a little break in action, we do want to thank a couple of our sponsors here. DCH Auto Group, delivering customer happiness. Corner Bakery Cafe. Simi Valley Town Center, proud to support Moore Park College football, breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. Matera Design Consultant. For all your design, layout, and production needs, contact Vine Matera at vmatera@earthlink.net. Matera Design Consultant. Los Robles Health System has been your source for your family's health care for more than 50 years. Award-winning care closer to home. With that, we're going to get right back into the action. And this penalty was heavily enforced. They're going to get the ball down here at the inside their own 38-yard line. Palomar is, I should say. As they come out in a single back set. Thompson once again under shotgun. Trips on the right side. Thompson gets the snap, fakes the handoff, throws to his left, breaks a tackle, and picks up a first down for Griffin.
That's one way that you need to be able to start off this drive, because the previous drive that Palomar had the football, they had great field position, but they were unable to do anything with it, just a 22-yard field goal kick. So they need to be able to score again and get on the positive side of this Raiders defense.
It is a 2nd and 2. He's going to fake the handoff. Thompson's going to throw once again. That is broken up by Williams, who almost came away with it. He didn't know where the ball was, but he definitely broke up that pass intended for intended for the Comet wide receiver, number 14, Johnny Armentrout.
And I was wondering if Williams was more upset that he might have gotten called for a penalty there than he was about the batted ball, because his arms were almost wrapped around the receiver.
Coming into the game, Devion Sneed. Running back, sophomore, who's 5'10", 210 pounds. We haven't really seen Sneed too much tonight, but could be a lethal weapon, as many of these Comets have been tonight against the Moore Park Raiders. It is going to be a 3rd and 1, though. They have a pro set offense. They are going to motion to the right side. Takes the snap, hands it off to Sneed, who is destroyed behind the line of scrimmage. by a clobber of Moore Park Raiders.
And that was number 45 in on the party, Carlos Coates, a freshman, 5'10", 210 pounds, to lead that charge on that defensive stop.
Moore Park's defense once again coming away with a very successful stoppage. It is going to bring up a 4th down and 4 for the Comets.
And it looks like they're going to go for it. They're right in that between position of field goal range or a punt. So this might be the best scenario for them.
Palomar coming out in their normal formation. Shotgun set, gets the snap. Thompson gets the snap, feels the pressure, just going to throw off his back foot. Covered pretty well, and that's going to be intercepted by the Moore Park Raiders.
And this defense has come up big again as they have given their offense a shot. That's the 2nd interception.
That was number 20 coming away with that, Mike Lopez, that freshman that we had seen do some work earlier in the first quarter. There is a flag once again.
Came in late. We'll see who it's on.
One thing I was going to say, if the play stands as is, that was a very good interception on the play. Unfortunately, it was 4th down, and it would have been a turnover on downs. The smart heads-up play would have been to drop that ball. But in the pressure and in the fun of the game, it's too hard with the adrenaline running. You're just looking at that ball, and you're ready to get it.
And when it comes to the bulk of the penalties for this Raiders team, there was a lot of unsportsmanlike conduct calls last year. And that's something that can drive a coach crazy because those are mistakes that you can control as a team, something that Moore Park will look to clean up.
And if you are Palomar, you need to pick it up on the offensive end because the previous 2 drives, the first 2 drives of the first half, you had the ball with great field position after a fumble on a kickoff, and you were only able to get a 22-yard touchdown and then threw the ball away on an interception. You need to be able to get on the upper hand of this Moore Park defense because Moore Park has momentum.
For the 2nd time tonight, Moore Park will start with the ball on the 2-yard line, 98-yard drive to go. Ball is going to be handed off and cut up the middle for a gain of 5. Number 24 on the carry for the Moore Park Raiders with that run, Malachi Meeks. Moore Park not unfamiliar with being backed up in their own end zone. This is the 2nd time tonight, in fact, that they've had to go for a 98-yard drive. Dylan Lee here on the left side, accompanied with Alex Sardi. Johnson gets the snap. Hands off once again to Meeks, who gets some open field, breaks a tackle, and picks up a 1st down for the Moore Park Raiders. Ball is going to be spotted right around the 17-yard line.
As you can see, Coach Stewart is starting to trust his running backs a little bit more. Last time they were backed up in this situation, I think they were a little hesitant to run the ball, but this time he's relying on his running backs to get him out of that field position.
Well, and it opens up the pass play as well, as we saw on that last drive. The effectiveness of the run helps out the quarterback situation.
Number 14 coming in for only the 2nd time tonight, Rayshawn Williams. The wide receiver from Moore Park on the far side. Johnson's going to throw a dart, but it just slides through the hands of Dylan Lee. Lee's kind of bouncing on one foot. Looks to be slightly injured here on the far sideline, going to the ground. There's 3 minutes and 59 seconds left in the game as Moore Park trails 17-7.
And this is a crucial drive for the Raiders here in the 3rd quarter. If they can get another touchdown and get down 3 heading into the 4th, it makes it it gives Palomar a lot of pressure as well, and it makes it a much more manageable situation.
Sardi with the motion. Johnson with the snap. Breaks a tackle, just throws it. Somehow is able to get away and throws it off his foot as he's being hit. Great play, heads-up play by Meeks to pick up that ball and take it for a couple yards, turning what would have been a sack into a gain of 9.
Johnson is proven to be a creative quarterback. When pressure is in his face, he is getting the ball out of his hands any way possible to get positive yardage for that Moore Park Raiders.
Also resilient, able to come into this half and be a little more improvised in his work.
Trips to the shallow side. Johnson in normal formation, shotgun, single set back. Going to motion Sardi over once again. Gets the snap, fumbles the snap, ball on the ground. Snap fumbled by Johnson. Palomar able to come away with it.
The ref signaled right away.
That's the 3rd or 4th time tonight Moore Park has fumbled the ball and not come away with it. Turnovers.
Unfortunately for Johnson, wasn't able to escape this fumble this time. Too many times back to the same well, and it will not work out for you.
So Palomar will get the ball in very comfortable field position on the 15-yard line going in. 1st and 10, 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. Palomar still up 17-7. Coming out on the field for one of the first times tonight, number 13 for the Palomar Comets, James Arbery. Look for him tonight as he's on the right side, far right side. Thompson gets the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls out right, takes it himself, wide open. He takes a hit at the 2-yard line by number 27 of the Raiders, Julio Diaz.
That could be a game-saving tackle.
Right on the 1-yard line, it's time to see if the Moore Park Raiders can have another goal line stand.
And for Moore Park, that was their 3rd fumble exactly on the day, something they really, really will look at if they lose this game in order to clean up next week.
Shea Morales coming in. We saw him come in earlier when Palomar was in a similar situation right there on the goal line. He looks to be their wildcat option. He's going to get the snap, give it, and it's going to be good for a Palomar touchdown. Number 28 coming straight across the middle for the Palomar Comets. That was Lamar Robitaille, someone we saw earlier in the second quarter.
And that was much needed. Those previous 2 drives, it was an interception and a 22-yard field goal. And Moore Park's defense stepped up big time in those previous 2 downs, but what you need to have to do is you need to be able to step up and be able to get a touchdown, and that's exactly what they did, trying to take control back over this home game.
It switches momentum as well.
It's almost as if the defenses have one hand tied behind their back because they've been put in terrible field position for both possessions.
And that PAT will be good for Palomar as they go up 24-7. While we have a little break in action, let's thank a couple more of our sponsors. Custom Pie and Bar next door. Wood Only Pizza, 17 craft beers on tap, wine by the glass, appetizers, pasta, salad, and more. Home of the Raiders happy hour after each home football game. Marketplace, official supplier of trophies, awards, gifts, and apparel for Moore Park College athletics since 2007. Coca-Cola celebrates, helping athletes through with Powerade. Corporate Graphics Communication, official signage company of Moore Park College athletics. Jan's Marketplace. Cheers to a successful season, proudly supporting Moore Park College athletics.
And in my opinion, with 2:34 left in this 3rd quarter, Moore Park needs to score it at the end of this quarter to give themselves a shot heading into the 4th.
Moore Park back to return. To return for Moore Park, number 11 and number 15. Keontae Skinner, along with Jordan Cuevas. Ball is going to be kicked. It's going to fall down inside the 10-yard line. Recorded by Cuevas. Takes it outside the 20, pushed out at about the 24-yard line.
Look for a lot of passes on this next drive. They're going to want to score, and they're going to want to score quickly. I do not see them running the football here.
So Moore Park will get the ball at the 25-yard line as they come out to put some more points on the board with 2:29 left in the 3rd quarter.
One thing that I would like to see, though, is them implementing Bata back into the offense, because that 9th drive of the game when they had the 35-yard touchdown pass, they were motioning forward with him, and that's how they were able to bring the football down. As you were mentioning, Justin, though, it does take a lot of time off of the clock, and they need to score quick.
One of the first times tonight we see Isaiah Johnson in an empty back set, He's going to motion Brandon Archibald, throw off his back foot as he's hit just out of the arms of number 84, Alex Sardi.
And Johnson's got to be able to come up with the completion there, just out of the reach. The pressure did affect him, but he had an open patch right around the 40-yard line.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't like it when you got a quarterback like that with Johnson, that you have a play that they're automatically rolling out because it shuts off one side of the field, and I don't think this offense is skilled enough to be able to block effectively. I don't think both of these offensive are right now, to block effectively to only go one side of the field. You need to only roll out if you need to do that because you're just shutting off one side right now.
Trips on the right side, ISO receiver on the shallow side. Johnson once again, shotgun, going to hand off to Archibald, who breaks a tackle, cuts back across the field, slides through, and he's at the 50. Pushed out at the 45-yard line. Archibald, one of the faster receivers, one of the faster running backs for this Moore Park team. Returning veteran from last year as well.
And their yards per rush last season they had only 2 yards per rush a game and 63.7 overall. So this is something they've already improved heading into the first game this season.
This isn't anything new for Archibald. Last season, he broke off a 63-yard run against this same team. So look for him to do something big here coming into the fourth.
And you can put him at the slot like he is right now. Another empty back set. Johnson gets the snap. Looking to his left. Feels pressure. Tries to go down. Flags.
Multiple.
A couple flags thrown before he was even tackled. There was either a holding penalty or potential roughing the passer.
When I was mentioning the difficulties in blocking as well that Moore Park has faced, there was only a 4-man rush, and they were able to get it right to Johnson. And they even had a few offensive linemen that were just standing there. You need to be able to block effectively for your quarterback to march down the field, and they did not do so on that play.
It's going to be a face mask call, which is going to be a nice chunk of yardage picked up by Moore Park. But it's also a holding on the Moore Park Raiders offense, so those penalties are going to offset each other. And it's going to be a repeat of first down. Somebody who just came into the game, so we haven't seen for quite some time now, running back for the Moore Park Raiders, Tyree Morrison, back in the game.
Could just be giving Archibald a breather. He's been out there heavily over the last couple of drives. Get him some hydration, some water on the sideline.
It's going to be a repeat of a first down here. Moore Park on their 45-yard line going in. Johnson shifting over Morrison. Tool set back. He's going to fake the handoff, keep it himself, cut up the middle, and he's going to go from the 20 to the 10 to the house. Touchdown Raiders! Isaiah Johnson on a 45-yard run up the middle.
Somebody's awake. They've awakened from hibernation. That is a massive run for Johnson. He's now doing it with his legs, too. He is carrying this team on his back, trying to bring them back from this deficit.
Without a doubt, the most success Moore Park has had all night has been when Johnson runs up the middle. He's picked up countless first downs for them, and now their second touchdown of the night.
45-yard touchdown run by Johnson there.
Morrison doing his part, taking the hit on that one with the fake, able to fake the Palomar defense and let his quarterback spring for a touchdown there.
He's actually had some very good reads this half, which has opened up that running game.
Higgs Mokshian going for the PAT attempt. So put Moore Park down only by 10. Kick is up, and it's blocked. Moore Park is just going to fall on it. And Palomar is able to block PATs. 24-13, the score remains. It doesn't seem like much now, but you never know how crucial that 1 point will make a difference as this game starts to get closer and closer towards the finish line. But while we do have a couple more minutes in action, we are going to thank a few more of our sponsors. And we want to go ahead and start with the Hat Restaurant in Simi Valley. Since 1951, 68 years of serving the world-famous pastrami, burgers, dogs, chili. Open 7 days from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Go to www.thehat.com. Ladin Auto Group, featuring Subaru. Family-owned and operated for over 45 years. Always close to home, located in the Thousand Oaks Auto Mall, Ladin Subaru. Meat Lover Movers. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Meathead Movers. Proudly serving Ventura County since 2007. Stonefire Grill, where community is served. Dine-in, takeout, delivery, and catering. Proudly supporting Moore Park College Athletics. And as we are back into the action here, Moore Park down 24-13 with 1:05 left in the third quarter. Still plenty of time for Moore Park to come back in this game, but has to start doing it rather quickly. Higgs Mokshian will once again kick off for the Moore Park Raiders as Palomar looks to return. Returning for Palomar, number 4 for the Comets, Damian Wigand. It's going to go past Wigand and bounce into the end zone.
That blocked PAT, just by a numbers standpoint, that's going to put them out 11 points. So they're going to need 2 touchdowns now instead of going for 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. So that's going to change Mike Stewart's play calling next time they get the ball.
When it comes to Palomar, they cannot relax. They need to keep their foot on the gas pedal. They need to continue to look to score and not play conservative, especially since Moore Park just regained momentum.
And with those previous drive, they actually had 2 straight running plays, one by the quarterback and then one by the running back to be able to score that touchdown. Maybe the running game is a little bit of an answer, as we saw them struggling a little bit on the passing game as of late.
Empty back set. Motions across. Fakes the hands off. Thompson throws to his left. Bounces off the hands of number 18 for the Comets, Isaiah Batten, the tight end freshman.
And that just had a little too much zip on it, right up near his head, not able to bring it down into his chest to be able to run upfield.
Number 12 in for the Comets tonight, someone we haven't seen too much of either. Deshaun Lee, running back freshman, listed at 5'11", 160 pounds. Gamble down here on the isolated side all by himself with Williams. Look up for that matchup. Thompson brings in his receivers just a little bit. Gets the handoff. Fakes the handoff. Throws it. Picks up a nice gain of 5 to 6 yards.
And that goes back to the edge rushers like Antoine Wynn, who had those 6.5 sacks. The speed on the edge can compensate for some of the problems they've had up the middle.
Once again, that was Armentrout. If it's not Armentrout, it's Griffin. If it's not Griffin, it's Armentrout. Those two have been causing problems for this Moore Park defense all night.
This crowd really into it now, understanding the stakes and the score.
Palomar in their normal formation. Thompson reading the defense. Blitz coming from Moore Park. Thompson has plenty of time. Feels the pressure, tries to roll around the side, throws it off his back foot, knocked away. Heads up play there by number 45 of the Moore Park Raiders to just knock that ball away from getting anywhere. Carlos Coates.
And that was wonderful coverage by the secondary, even with the time that the quarterback Thompson had. It gave Moore Park the ability to rush the quarterback late.
That's going to bring another 3 and out for the Palomar Comets. And with just 16 seconds left in the third quarter, Moore Park is going to get the ball back. So plenty of time for them to come back.
Big play by Coates as they picked up the blitz, and that could have left a lot of vulnerability on the backside, but he was able to tip that ball down and keep the Raiders in this.
Returning for Moore Park, Dylan Lee. Bouncing kick, rolls all the way down to the 28-yard line where it's going to be stopped. 4 seconds remaining here in the third quarter as Moore Park will have enough time to run just one more play.
Look for just a conservative run call, maybe up the middle to end this quarter. I don't see them taking a big risk before within striking distance here.
Johnson comes out. Single back set. One tight end on the inside, left side. Scans the defense once again. Motions over Sardi, who rolls behind him. Just hands the ball off for a quick yardage. Who pitches it back?
No, that was a keeper, I believe, by the quarterback right there.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Justin. I apologize right there. That was a quarterback keeper there. A little confusion on my part. They got me. They tricked me on that one.
It worked for the Raiders on their last drive. I see why they went back to the well. It obviously last time it ended up with a touchdown for them.
And that's going to end the third quarter as there is just 15 minutes remaining in this game. Moore Park down 13-24. Now, there's something I wanted to point out real fast. I don't think we really talked about it too much before the pregame show, but both these teams have had rather opposite years last year. Moore Park finished just 1-9 and has not been to a bowl game since 2016. Palomar finished 6-5 and lost, even though they got into the Beach Bowl, they lost to Southwestern 28-24. So the success that Palomar has had, I think Moore Park is out there trying to look for it, and it's definitely going to have to come away. In order for them to get that success, they need to first of all beat Palomar.
And that comes from the success pedigree of Palomar College. 3 football championships, including in the mid-'80s, again under then head coach Tom Kraft, who again was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, 10 conference championships and 4 Southern California regional titles in 91, 93, and 98. The Comets not only went to win the California Community College State Championship, but were also proclaimed national championships by the JC Gridwire, USA Today, and the National Community College Football Coaches Alliance.
One thing I want to say, guys, I had a great time on this broadcast once again. Opening night for junior college football. It's great to be back on this broadcast as we're going into our fourth quarter action here.
Yeah, it's always good to be back with the boys. Moore Park will get the ball here to start the fourth quarter. 2nd and 5. Johnson gets a snap. He's going to throw off his back foot. Deep ball way downfield, but no chance of anyone catching that as it's going to fall incomplete. Third down.
Number 14 for the Raiders there. Number 14, Rayshawn Williams, was wide open on the other side of the field. He had a deep ball. It would have been a touchdown pass if he looked the other direction.
And he has some serious height advantage. I mean, Williams over here is listed at 6'4", so he's got height over most of these guys. And actually, who's covering him, David Quintilla, is only listed at 6 foot. So that's 4-inch difference. And a lot of times as a quarterback, you got to look for those height advantages.
I expect the confidence from Johnson, but I don't even think Tyreek Hill could catch up to that ball.
Johnson with the snap, which is fumbled, but picks right back up. Throws once again off his back foot, just has to get rid of it. Incomplete. It's going to bring up a 4th down for the Raiders.
And that snap is not on Johnson there. That's on the center. It was low to begin with. It didn't give an opportunity to grasp it and then step back.
As you mentioned, it was on the center. New offensive line pretty much for Moore Park, at least a lot of new guys coming in, so that could just be a little bit of chemistry issues as we're here for the first game of the season for Moore Park.
The punting unit will come out.
With the third muff snap for the quarterback, I'm surprised they're not starting to bring him up a little closer to center, kind of take away those exchanges or those bad snaps.
To return for the Comets, number 4, Damian Wigand, Johnny Armentrout. They're going to fair catch that, and that ball is going to go ahead and bounce down to about the 25-yard line before it will be stopped. So Palomar will come back on the field, getting the ball at their 25-yard line and get another go at it. There is a penalty on the play. A miscommunication, no penalty on the play. Also alluding off what we were talking about, Justin, with these two team successes, 7 times since Joe Early, the head coach of Palomar, 7 times since he's been coaching, have they been ranked in the top 26 in the nation. So they've been known for having, rather successful careers here at Palomar. But what Mike Stewart's done with this program with Moore Park, maybe the record hasn't reflected it, but academically, he's had over 70 players sign D1 offers since he's been official head coach in 2016.
Well, and Coach Stewart himself played college ball at USC, so he knows the pedigree.
And then Fresno State. Motion across. Thompson's going to go ahead and hand that ball off. Not much there as the whole swarm of Moore Park Raiders swamp them right there.
And once again, you ask this defense to come up big. Down 11. Still need to move the football and give your offense some opportunities.
You got to tip your cap to this Moore Park defense. They're the only side keeping this Moore Park Raiders in the ball game.
Pro set for Gamble. Pro set for Thompson. As he goes ahead and motions Armentrout over, then motions him right back. He's going to get the snap. Looks to be a false start. And it is going to be a false start. That's going to bring him to a 2nd and 15.
If the Raiders plan on winning this game, it's going to be on the offense. They're going to need one more touchdown at least to bring them within striking distance. The defense continues to come up big and keeps doing their part.
And it's going to bring up a 2nd down and 15, like I said, with 13 minutes and 46 seconds left in this ball game. Palomar is going to come right back out. Same set as they always do. Pardon me, different this time. Rather 2 running backs in the backfield. Thompson scans the field. Armentrout with the motion. It's going to get the snap, fake the snap, throw it to Gamble, who's tackled for a gain of maybe 2 to 3.
Wonderful open field tackling by number 20, Mike Lopez. Again, one of the newcomers who has shined brightly tonight
Had an interception earlier in this game.
Some speed off the edge again, able to close and make that open field tackle.
So they're going to say that was a gain of 5, as it's going to be a 3rd down and 10. Logan Gamble on the reception. Moore Park looking very unaffected by being this late in the game. A lot of times you'll see defenses start to get tired, but Moore Park looking just as they did in the first quarter. He's going to throw it right as soon as he catches it. Armentrout with a huge catch right down the middle of the field, as he's going to pick up a nice chunk of yards. 20-yard reception for Johnny Armentrout, number 14.
Each first down becomes a crucial moment in this game now. Clock is continuing to tick. As the first downs continue on, time runs out for these Moore Park Raiders, and their chance of a comeback becomes slimmer and slimmer.
And for a season opener, it's always great to see when you have a lot of fan support. For our viewers that can't see the crowd here, there is quite a few people here coming to support their Palomar Comets. It will bring up a first down, ball here on the 44-yard line. Thompson gets a snap. She's going to throw. Takes a hit and somehow breaks away and pushes for a yard or two to fight for an extra couple yards. Number 18 coming away with that snag, pushing for that yardage. That was Isaiah Batten. With time ticking down now, just 11 minutes and 53 seconds left, and the fact that the Comets are up by 11, one more touchdown would probably put this game out of reach for Moore Park. So it is crucial that Moore Park's defense does not break, only bend. It's going to be a 2nd and 6. Thompson accompanying the backfield with Sneed. Trips on the left side. Gets the snap, hands it off to Sneed. Sneed's going to take it up for a 7-yard gain.
And this, to this point, but also maybe for the rest of this game, is the most crucial stop. You want to give your offense enough time because they are still down 2 scores here.
It's going to be a 3rd down and 2 for Palomar.
As I'm watching this near side sideline, the Raiders are trying to bait the quarterback into making a mistake. They're showing blitz and then backing off, hoping he'll make a errant pass. Unfortunately for them, it was a run play.
Thompson gets the snap, looks to his left, broken away, but they're going to say there's a flag on the play. Broken away, that was number 27 for the Moore Park Raiders. Coming away with that deflection, Julio Diaz.
And when you get there early, that's when the flag will come out. They have mixed their coverages. Sometimes Moore Park has brought 3 in the box. Sometimes they've brought 4 in the box and an extra rusher off the edge on a blitz. So, again, that leaves the middle linebackers on an island sometimes. You're forced to cover one-on-one, and getting a little antsy leads to a flag.
That's going to go ahead and turn that would have been a 4th down into a 1st down with a new set of chains.
And that, we've talked about the penalties, and yet they have come up again, a killer to bleed more clock for this Palomar offense.
That was a bang-bang play, but the refs have been pretty consistent with their flags. Every time it's been a close one, they've been ready to throw the flag on out there.
1st and 10 as Palomar gets a new set of downs. Moore Park trying to look to come up with a stop here. Time running out. Thompson's just going to go ahead and hand it off to Sneed. Sneed's going to make a spin move and go ahead and take it for about a gain of 3 yards. Second down and 7. And at this rate, Palomar, now 10 minutes and 24 seconds left on the clock. Palomar is looking to primarily just run the clock out. Now, there is plenty of time for Moore Park to come back. Not plenty, but there is time. But Palomar's ultimate goal right now is just to run the clock.
And if you're Coach Stewart and the staff, you may want to start thinking about an onside kick if your offense can score on the next drive.
Certainly. Thompson gets the snap. Once again, going to go ahead and hand it off, but this time tackled right there at the line, or behind the line of scrimmage, pardon me, by number 51 of the Moore Park Raider defense, Alec Tafoya.
And also important reminder, both teams have their timeouts to use. So there are opportunities to stop the clock.
Third down and 10 for Palomar as they are in no rush to get this snap off. Kwok Clock slowly dwindling away. Thompson, once again, shotgun formation, per usual. Gets the snap, three-step drop back, feeling the pressure. Gonna go ahead and just throw it off his back foot. Deep throw, it is caught! It is caught! Number 9 for the Comets, Griffin, once again.
That might have been one of the most incredible catches I have ever seen.
The duo between Griffin and Armentrout is something that I think Thompson is very lucky to have, as they are lucky to have him.
Just the pure athleticism to be able to jump up and say to yourself, I want this ball more. That was what that catch comes down to.
The Raiders brought the house on that one, and the quarterback was able to elude it and just throw it up for his wide receiver to go and grab.
And that was pretty great defense by Moorpark. Even number 18, Colby Williams, he was a little bit dispositioned with the wide receiver, but even that corner was still in pretty decent position to make it a tough catch.
Thompson gets the ball, fakes the snap, hands it off. Tackled right there by Daniel Henderson.
And for
Gain of 3.
And for Moorpark to have any hope, they want to hold Palomar to a field goal here.
And Moorpark's defense has been pretty successful in this half. In the first drive, they held them to a 22-yard field goal, intercepted the football on the next drive. On the drive after, they gave a touchdown, and then they forced a punt on the drive after. So pretty successful in these attempts, and basically Palomar has been set up with great field position, and Moorpark's been able to do as much as they could on the defensive end against that.
Palomar knocking on the door. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Thompson, once again, shotgun. Gets the handoff. He's going to go ahead and hand that ball off, trying to make something happen, but tackled for a loss. Number 71 for the Moorpark Raiders coming in and dominating right there. Tevlin Townsend.
With the ball game on the line, the defensive line is showing up once again, putting pressure on their running backs. Not going to let them just punch this in.
Damon Wiggins, one of the running backs here for Palomar, kind of lipping off the field as he will be replaced by number 28, Lamar Robitaille. 3rd down now and 10, as this is a 3rd and goal for Palomar. A touchdown here would almost solidify a win for the season opener.
This is the game if you're the Moorpark Raiders.
3rd and 9. Thompson gets a snap, looking to his left. Quick snap, he's going to let it release. Caught right there on the 1. Are they going to give him the touchdown? They're going to label him a yard shy.
And now
Armentrout with the catch.
And now Palomar has a decision to make. Do you go for it and try to really put this game out of reach? Do you take the points and force Moorpark to make plays on offense?
It looks
I
like
think
they're going for it.
you have to go for it, definitely. As you were saying, Nick, you have to go for it on this play. You're at the 1-yard line, plus you have the 11-point lead. And one thing, though, that I am impressed with Moorpark's defense, obviously their head coach, Mike Stewart, he was a 2A All-American at Westlake High School, played at Moorpark College, recruited by USC, played at Fresno State, and he definitely knows the defensive side of the football very well, and that's how they're able to get that pressure. But if you are Palomar, you need to try to score right now. You cannot try to kick a field goal. You need to go for a touchdown since the clock is winding down right now.
They're going to call a timeout here.
Interesting that they're calling a timeout to discuss this one. A field goal actually only puts them up 14 points. Either way, it's going to remain a 2-touchdown game. So if I were Palomar, I would just do as we had been commentating. I would try to punch this 1 yard in.
Well, Robert, it may not be necessarily the strategy itself, but what kind of play they want to call if they are going to go for it, because that could throw Moorpark's defense off, and that could be what they're discussing here. I highly doubt it would be a discussion about going for a field goal instead of trying to punch it in, especially with the time and score on this clock.
This is definitely one of the most crucial plays of the game. I understand them taking that timeout to discuss what they want to do here.
Palomar was the one that called the timeout, so it does make all the sense that they are going to be the last ones to go back on the field here as their coach talks to them, revises about what is about to happen. Like you guys said, one yard, you know, it's basically this game comes down to this 1 yard right here. If they go for it and Moorpark stops it, they have life. If they go for it and they get it, Moorpark's basically done. They are going to come back on the field as they are going to go for it. So 4th and 1, 4th and goal, pardon me, from the 1 yard line. This is the ball game.
Look for a sneaky play action pass possibility. They may not go run here.
Morales not in on this occasion. He's going to go ahead and hand it off right up the middle. Touchdown, Palomar. Number 4 for the Palomar Comets, Damon Wigand. Palomar goes up 30-13 and just about wraps up Moore Park's chances of coming back. But the game is not over. It is possible. But it's going to be a heck of a comeback if they go for it.
An uphill battle for sure. They need to score with a tremendous amount of efficiency if they even have a shot here.
So Palomar leads with 5:58 to go left in this ball game. To kick, Noah Lopez. Shallow kick right to the helmet, and that's definitely not going good. So it's going to be 30-13. Now, because of that kick, ironically, it kind of evens out the blocked PAT by Moore Park. Moore Park within 17, so still need 2 touchdowns, but they only need 1 field goal now. They don't need to get 3 touchdowns. The game is within 17 points. 30-13, Palomar leads.
Good on the Palomar coaches continuing to go with the run. At first, the conservative run had been stopped behind the line for 2 plays in a row. The pass set up this touchdown drive, but with 1 yard to go, you got to hand it off to your running back. You got to show that confidence in your running back, and he was able to get the job done for them.
And I think today the primary early offense for the Comets came on 4th down. And interestingly enough, when it comes to 4th downs, last season, 4th down conversions, they were only 37%, but they took 35 shots at 4th down overall, a surprisingly high number. So 2 for 2 today. That's been the catalyst for their lead.
Back to return from Moore Park, Kenyon Skinner, along with Dylan Lee. And that ball's going to bounce deep back into the end zone. As they're going to rule that as a touchback. Moore Park goes ahead and takes the field with 5:58 remaining in this ball game.
So I see a possible very fast touchdown, try for an onside kick, and see where it leads from there.
I think that's the only way to go, Justin, with such minimal time remaining in this ball game. They basically have to score, get the ball back, score, get the ball back, score.
And also on defense, they need to start ripping the ball out and try to force turnovers because that can conserve time.
And going for an onside kick is probably the way to go because Palomar is probably going to be running the football most of the game because of the fact that that's just going to run out the clock.
So Isaiah Johnson, once again in the shotgun formation, is going to roll out to his right. Archibald leading for a block. Throw off his back foot, not really anywhere to throw. Intended receiver, Alex Sardi.
Look for the Moore Park Raiders to be thrown to the sideline quite often, trying to save their timeouts as the game continues on. Getting all those sideline passes keeps the play clock from running constantly and then gives them an opportunity to try that onside like you had been suggesting.
So it's going to be a 2nd and 10 for the Moore Park Raiders. Time is their enemy. Trips on the right side, ISO'd on the left. Single back set with Archibald in the backfield. Johnson motions over Sardi, evens it out, 2-2 set. 3-step drop back, looking, hits him in stride. What a beautiful throw, as that's going to be a 1st down to Dylan Lee, number 5.
What a catch. He really was able to reach out for that one and keep this drive going. You're going to need more plays like that, as well as some no-huddle offense moving forward.
Coming out in the same exact package as they did the play prior with the same motion. Looks like they're going back to the same play. A muff snap. Barely picks up the ball in time. He stays on his feet somehow. Once again, just throws it. And a diving catch, but it's no good.
They ruled that incomplete. It did hit the ground first. The intended receiver was number 14. That is Rayshawn Williams once again.
One thing I do want to mention, I don't know if you guys are having deja vu just like I am. Isaiah Johnson at the quarterback position. If you've been following Moore Park football for a while now, back in 2016 for the Beach Bowl victory, 49-12 against Santa Barbara City College, there was a guy named Isaiah Johnson, running back number 23, was at Eastern Illinois University, FCS and FBS Bowl offensive MVP, got invited to some NFL camps as well. So that was a famous alumni from the Raiders.
It's going to be a 2nd down and 10, handoff to Archibald. Archibald breaks a tackle, but then tackled right after. Just getting back to the line of scrimmage, it's going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
And speaking of alums, Ryan, one of the star defensive standouts from last season, who is no longer here, Drew Mathis, is now playing at Oregon, one of 19 players on this Moore Park roster who have been picked up by Division I schools, something that they can hang their hat on for recruiting purposes moving forward.
It's going to be a 3rd and 10. Johnson looking, throwing. It looks like the ball slipped out on that one, incomplete, but there is a flag on the play.
Looked like a miscommunication between the receiving corps and the quarterback on routes there.
Also going back to your point real quickly, Justin, on alumni from Moore Park College, there's been 70 football players ever since Mike Stewart started coaching, the head coaching position here, that have gone off to NCAA Division I schools from the Raiders. And also another person, Isaiah Mustafa, who played previously for Moore Park College, is actually in the new hit movie It Chapter 2 as one of the adults, a former Moore Park Raider alum. Just a quick fun fact right there. He's known as the Old Spice Man instead of Terry Crews, the other guy that's on a horse.
And as a school, it's their 3rd straight season of a collective 3.0 GPA as a team with their athletes, which is something that Coach Stewart prides himself on, making sure these players graduate.
Last year, they were first in academics, among all other teams that they played in the 2018 season because their academics were as high as you said, Justin. It's going to be a 4th down and 10. This is the ball game for the Raiders if they don't get it here. Johnson's looking, going to throw a deep throw, hits him in stride. It's caught by number 3 of the Moore Park Raiders at a crucial time in the game, Jahil Lipkin.
That's the 11th first down.
This game may be out of hand in terms of points. They're going to continue to try on, but something important for the Moore Park Raiders to do is build a little bit of momentum for the next game coming on.
Snap's going to be low once again. He's going to just get it off in time, barely knocked away. Caught, broken by a tackle, cuts back left. Lee cuts back, breaks, and pushed out of bounds. A little bit of shoving there, but they're going to make sure that it all stays under control. Lee there with the reception, gain about 5.
And correction there, that was the 2nd first down of the drive. Of the drive, the 2nd first down on this possession.
So just a little bit of scuffling there, but nothing getting out of hand, which is always great. That's going to bring up a 2nd down here and 4, pardon me. 2nd down and 5, actually.
And look for it to be pass heavy the rest of the way. No running plays.
Williams ISO'd by himself on the right side. Pardon me. That's going to be Smith. Once again, Isaiah feels the pressure. He's just going to go ahead and run. Takes a hit and still rolls over for an extra yard or 2.
Unless you do something like that, a scramble run outside into the secondary.
There is an injured player who looks to be in a great deal of pain down over by the 5-yard line for the Palomar Comets. You always hate to see that happen, but when you do, you wish the best.
One thing I did see on that last play is when I was mentioning these quarterbacks from Moore Park, including Isaiah Johnson, of telegraphing passes. That whole play was meant to go to one wide receiver. You need to be able to check down your routes and be able to pass to somewhere else, because right when that receiver wasn't open, it looked like Johnson had to scramble out. He was a little shaken up from that and then had to do something on his own. So they need to make sure that he looks down his routes and looks at every wide receiver that he can, to be able to throw off the defense a little bit.
And that injured player, it does look to be just a cramp, so nothing too serious. Looks like they're working out the legs down
And that's
there.
got to be one of the most common things when it comes to playing football. 4th quarter, I don't care how much water you drink.
It isn't terribly
pretty
hot, but
common.
with this physical nature,
But
yes.
dehydration comes a lot with, especially late in the 4th quarter. You've been working your body all day. Muscles are going to cramp up. You're going to get hamstring injuries and muscle cramps. It's very common.
Back when I was part of the football team, our coaches would make us drink pickle juice at halftime, so that is not fun to prevent these cramps. So what the athletes have to do sometimes, it is extreme.
And that was number 27 for Palomar, walking off the sideline, David Quintanilla.
So it's going to be a 3rd down and 3 for the Moore Park Raiders here. Johnson gets the ball, going to fake the handoff, going to hit him on the slant route, caught by Dylan Lee. What a beautiful catch and snag. Johnson to Lee connection.
Another tough catch. That defender, number 1 for Palomar as well, Jay Kraft, he was right on the receiver there. Not a very big window to throw that football.
Johnson, backfield. Another low snap. Bata in. He's going to pick it up and run. Try and make something out of nothing. Lowers his shoulder. And he turns a loss of maybe 10 into a loss of 5.
That was not a good play, but one added benefit Stewart might be getting out of this no-huddle offense is he's going to have a lot of practice snaps with Shane Daftery, the center. He's got to get that snap up for the quarterback so that way we have less muff snaps every time the quarterback is going out there for the Moore Park Raiders.
And that's been another Achilles heel in this game is the miscommunication between Daftery and Johnson, something that is key for an offense to flow.
One of the bright sides I think that's going on with the Moore Park Raiders right now is Johnson to Lee. That connection has been working more than anything else tonight. Once again, Johnson gets the snap. He's going to go ahead and throw back to Smith. And they're going to do a pick and go, but it's going to be overthrown.
Oh, it was almost one of those lateral pass plays, and he was wide open again on that sideline. And just a poor throw led him
Smith.
too far.
Yeah, Reese Smith on that throw there. Maybe got a little bit excited and overthrew him. Once again, you can't blame him too much. He isn't a quarterback, but those opportunities only come once a game, sometimes once, twice a season, because once you've exposed that play, other teams can watch this film and now prepare for it. It's the element of surprise. It's going to be a 3rd and long as the Raiders are looking here at about a 3rd and 20.
And I just want to correct something I said. It is actually not Shane Daftery who's hiking the ball. It's Mark Diaz. So this is something they're going to practice often this week.
Johnson gets it. Once again, going to go to Lee. Lee's going to cut off field. Nobody's there. 20, 10, 5. And are they going to give it to him? Pushed out at about the 1 yard line. What a run by Lee.
And if you are Palomar, you need to realize that on those types of long yardage plays, a screen is a very viable option for an offense. Something they need to look to cover a little bit better. A bright spot for Moore Park in terms of today is that receiving core. A brilliant catch and run down to the 1.
And that's going to be, it looks like they're going to give him the touchdown. So the Raiders go up to 19, down by 11. 30-19 is the score right now. Raiders have just 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in this game. If they want to make it happen, they're going to have to get an onside kickback, score, and get another onside kickback and score again. The kick is once again blocked. And the scoop, they're going for the scoop and score. Number 31 for the Palomar Comets, coming up with a huge block and a near scoop and score. Kobe Dominguez, who we actually saw come up the field early in the first quarter from an injury. Great to see that he's doing okay and rather well.
And that was actually Troy Smith, the quarterback holder for the field goal. He was able to run after him. Did a really good job saving that from being a touchdown the other way.
Troy Smith, someone who actually started for quarterback last year, a couple of games against Ventura, a couple others as well. But Troy Smith, someone that was definitely a prominent part of the 2018 Moore Park Raiders.
And people have to realize, too, that blocked extra point totally changes the play calling for Coach Stewart, because what was once an onside kick opportunity turns into a near scoop and score, which forces the defense to come back on the field, and then you must change your thinking for the next 2.5 minutes.
Now, the thing is with this as well, Moore Park does have all 3 timeouts, so they do have enough time to drain the clock, quote unquote, to ultimately get the ball back. They can stop. They have enough to basically dry up one whole set of drives without them picking up a first down, and Moore Park can get the ball back with basically no damage done on the time clock.
Well, but the downside is they'd call those timeouts on the defense instead of saving it for their offense and trying to get out of bounds.
Of course.
We saw a little trickery from the Raiders before. Let's see what they do on this onside kick in order to get and receive this ball once again.
The downside to this is that you know Palomar's expecting it, but how can you do it in a way that you can still be successful with it? Eddie Mbauda is right there on that front line. He's someone that's not afraid to take a hit or give a hit. Kick is underway, takes a bounce, and it is received by Palomar. There's a flag as well.
It looked like it went out of bounds, which is possibly what this flag is for.
It looks to be on the Moore Park Raiders, which would ultimately seal up this chance of victory.
Whistles are blowing here for a quick second. They're conferring, the officials at midfield about right now.
Looks like a second penalty flag.
It does appear that the defense is coming back onto the field. signaling that it was against Moore Park special teams unit.
One benefit of that onside kick, it only took off a second, and they're still going to get one more play before the 2-minute warning. So that 2-minute warning is going to work as another extra timeout for them.
Do have to take advantage of that 2-minute warning, so they basically are looking at 4 timeouts rather than 3. The refs are still debating on what exactly the flag was. Two minutes and 2 seconds here to go as the Comets are up 30-19 against Moore Park College.
Looks like we've got fouls on both teams.
There was flags on both teams. False start by Moore Park College.
So those fouls will offset. And they may, I'm not sure if they'd have to re-kick here.
Well, the unfortunate thing with Moore Park in that situation is that it was a pretty decent kick as well. It did go to bounce, but it was a pretty decent kick. The placement, it's just you need to be able to stand behind the line. It's not that difficult to do. These things are things you've been training for basically your whole entire football life. Just stay behind the line. Make sure that he makes contact with the football before you go and cross, and that could have been a possible onside kick recovery.
Those penalties do offset each other, so the ball will be placed at the spot of the reception. Palomar basically has to just get 1 first down, and this game will be all in the books. They will take the ball here at the 42-yard line with just over 2 minutes to go. On the field for the wide receiving corps, Gamble, accompanied with Griffin. At quarterback, someone we've only seen twice tonight, number 8 for Palomar is Shea Morales.
Well,
He's their Wildcat guy.
And the reason for that is because of the time and score of this situation. They'll bring in somebody who has a easier chance of running the football. Moore Park will spend all of their timeouts on this drive.
I think that's going to be dangerous is if Moore Park does want to come back, which there's minimal amount of time to do so. As Justin did say, they need to call their timeouts, but another onside kick and a quick score has to happen.
Morales gets the snap. He's going to keep it himself. Like we talked about, he is that Wildcat guy. He's going to go right up the middle there and pick up 5 yards. And this is rather common to see when a team is up in a victory here. They put up their backup quarterback just to eliminate the possibility of their starter getting hurt in the last couple of minutes when it really doesn't matter. So Morales coming in, getting a couple snaps, which is good for him and good for the team.
And they are held by a 2-minute warning. They can. I'm sorry, there was a timeout called. I thought there was a 2-minute warning. There is not. A timeout's been called. Talk over some things on the defense. Interesting that they chose to do it in a delayed way, sort of waiting a few seconds before calling the timeout instead of right away after the run.
And I just want to clear some up. I apologize. There is no 2-minute warning here at the junior college level for all of our viewers listening. There might have been some confusion with us talking about that prior. There is no 2-minute warning for junior college football, CCCAA. So there's only 3 timeouts. One has been used, so now there's rather 2 timeouts for Moore Park College. Morales comes back after getting the call.
Moore Park has to look to stop this at the line. They cannot afford to move these chains one more time and give Palomar an extra possession, or else that will be the ball game.
And they're loading the box, clearly expecting the run.
But an empty backfield doesn't look like a run might be possible. Now there's a flag here.
False start on the offense. It completely negates the previous 5-yard run, setting it back to what was the original line of scrimmage.
False start. That's going to bring him back another 5 yards. It's going to be a 2nd and 10.
That's exactly what Moore Park could hope for in a situation like this.
Saving as much time as possible is, at this moment, the priority for Moore Park's defense. If you're Palomar, clearly you want to run out the clock, but do it effectively.
Motion's over. Griffin. Morales alone with an empty back set. Gets the snap once again, looking to keep it. Cuts up the middle. Gets a yard or two before he's swarmed by tackles, bringing up a 3rd down and 8.
Another timeout, very quickly called. It'll be a 3rd and medium here. And again, I see another run play. No passing situation coming up.
It's a very predictable next couple plays right here. It looks to me that Palomar isn't going to change anything up. They're just going to keep running it with Morales. Moore Park's just going to keep loading the box. They are going to get one more opportunity, but even after they get that opportunity, they're going to have to give the ball back, so they're going to need to get another onside kick, and that needs to go their way.
As you mentioned, it does need to go their way because if Palomar is able to touch the football once again on another drive, we'll just assume, let's say, Moore Park is able to stop them on this possession, then they're able to score. Moore Park cannot have Palomar have the ball once again because then they'll just go in victory formation and knee the football. So you need to be able to have, if you're Moore Park College, get lucky enough to be able to launch the football down the field really quickly within about 40 seconds and then get an onside kick successful. We've seen stranger things, but it is a tough task for Moore Park to do this.
With Morales going back out there, I think Palomar's coaches are actually trying to save Rodney Thompson on this last drive, not use him, not let him get hurt. It would be a shame at the end of this game for their star quarterback to go down.
And with that being said, it's going to be a 3rd and 7 here for Palomar. Morales accompanying the backfield with one running back. Gets the snap. He's going to go ahead and keep it himself. Fake the handoff. Goes with the option. Has enough for the 1st down, and he gets it as he dove over a couple of defenders. Primarily number 41 for the Raiders, jumping over that Anthony Irvin. But there is a flag on the play.
This will most likely come back. Probably a hold. When you see a flag in that area, that's usually the signal that is given.
Morales showing his coaches that he could definitely be a weapon when it comes to the run game. They do have him as the backup quarterback here, but the wheels that he's been able to show and the determination when he runs through the hole is something that I think they have to at the least admire. I mean, he's listed here at 215, but he does look a little bit smaller than that.
And if Thompson continues to show that he can throw the football, Palomar may entertain making Morales a running back.
Yeah, that's a great point, Justin. They could because, especially this early in the season, you might have some positions set, but nothing's really set in stone. Yes, you have your starters, you have your backups, you have your depth chart, but like you mentioned, you never know. Maybe week 9 or 10, Morales ends up going to wide receiver or running back. That's going to put them in a long 3rd and 18.
Again,
Pardon me, it's going to be a 3rd and 20. Morales is going to get the handoff, go ahead and just give it off. It's going to be just right back to the line of scrimmage as there is no gain on the play for Palomar. That's going to bring up a 4th down and 18.
That penalty keeping Moore Park Raiders' chances alive. It is going to be their time to get the ball back after this punt, and they're going to have to score very quickly in order to have any shot at this game.
As you did mention, the penalties keeping them alive, and it seems like almost everything is going Moore Park's way, funny enough, in that drive. Penalty after penalty just bringing them back. So it's still alive for Moore Park, but they're going to have this same luck during an onside kick if they are able to score right now.
And really, the luck has been on the side of Moore Park for the majority of this half when you look at the way the narrative has been going. It's been those shoot yourself in the foot moments that have caused this game to sort of get out of hand for them.
To return for Moore Park, number 11 for the Moore Park Raiders. That's going to be Taya Skinner.
And whistles again.
Another flag on the play as we will figure out just what happened.
Probably another false start penalty, possibly. Although it was thrown near the direction of the returner there. Oh, now they're picking up the flag. I believe that might have been a mistake. Or no, now they are moving him up.
There's been a lot of yellow laundry on in this field as of late.
And it's getting cleaned as we speak. So once again, Kenyon Skinner back to return, number 11 for the Moore Park Raiders. We've seen him play the wide receiver position tonight. And to punt for your Palomar Comets, number 25 coming at you, Ben Lozada. Lozada gets the punt. Nice kick. Drops all the way down inside, right at about the 31-yard line before it goes out the 31-yard line.
That's not exactly what Lozado, I'm not sure, was looking for. I don't think he wanted to give an extra 20 yards of field position there, but he did angle it out of bounds, which didn't give a chance to return.
Apologies. That was number 35, Preston Denard. So Moore Park's going to have one last shot at it. And even after they score, they will still need one more shot. But with the current drive situation they're given, they still need to score to even have another chance.
Look for some short throws to the sideline, maybe get to midfield and throw a couple of shots deep.
Exactly a minute 30, just 90 seconds left, separating Moore Park from a victory or a loss.
And that's one thing that I've been impressed with, the confidence out of Johnson as a quarterback to throw deep. Been mentioning it all game. That confidence is going to go into question on this drive. Let's see if he's able to throw it.
Johnson with one running back. Another muff snap. He's going to pick it up with one hand, roll around to the left side. He's going to go ahead and throw it. Caught by Morrison. Does a spin move. Cuts back.
He has to get out of bounds.
What a great play, but he had to get out of bounds so the clock's going to run. That was a nice pickup of yardage, about 30 yards right there. Johnson's always able to make something happen even when it seems like there's no way for a play to be made.
As a player, it is your responsibility to know the time and score at all times. He should have gotten out of bounds on that play.
That was Malachi Meeks, by the way, with the reception. He's throwing again, going deep once again. Looking just over the fingertips of the Moore Park receiver.
And
core.
Johnson got absolutely popped. He is slow to get up, appears to be okay. The entire offensive line is gathering around him for the moment. He is checking with his coaching staff, walking it off. And what you don't want as a team in any event, no matter who you are, is an injury specifically at the end of the game, because that throws your entire depth chart and plan into next week out of commotion in a sense.
And he's going to go to the ground. He definitely is in pain. You hate to see when it happens.
And the hope is that the wind just got knocked out of him. But when you get popped in the ribs like that, at that speed and at that level of force, and the entire offensive unit is gathering around right now. The training staff is coming out. Luckily, the Raiders at quarterback are quite deep. They do have Trey Johnson and Vince James on the roster, both of which are incredibly capable of coming in and leading this team as well.
The one thing, though, with Moore Park, mentioning the offensive line struggles with the freshman center, number 77, Mark Diaz, who has been brought in. There's been muff snap after muff snap. And with the struggles with the offensive line with blocking, each time that Johnson has to go all the way to the ground, Nick made a comment about picking up with one hand. He has to jump all the way to the ground, pick it up, break a few tackles just to be able to throw the football, and then he is hit hard after he throws it. So just a lot of wear and tear for this quarterback right now in the early parts of the season, and it is tough to see a guy like that go down.
And
well, Trey Johnson is back in the game. We haven't seen him since the the first two series of the game they pulled him, and he's definitely back in the game now. The good thing to see is that Isaiah Johnson was able to walk off on his own 2 feet, which is a great sign that the injury wasn't at least too severe. But Trey Johnson is now back in the game for the first time tonight since the first quarter, and he has a lot of pressure on him with just a minute 03 left to go.
And muff snaps and penalties have been the two biggest narratives of this game offensively for Moore Park. Their inability to communicate.
2nd and 10, Johnson gets the snap. He's going to go ahead and throw it deep, but it's going to go over the hands of Lee. Incomplete, 3rd down.
And it's a tall task as an offense to be able to ask a new QB to come in, even at the end of a game, because you're not used to him as a signal caller, and now you have to trust him to lead your offense.
Yes, Trey Johnson's got the card stacked against him, but not impossible. With a 3rd and 10 to go, 59 seconds left in the game, Moore Park needs a first down, and they need to get out of bounds in order to keep this drive alive. So he's going to have a single back set, maybe for some support. Trips on the left side, ISO receiver on the right. Snap once again low. Johnson's going to go ahead, throw it deep. Double covered. Jumps back for it. Does he have it? They said it's incomplete. It hit the ground first.
That was quite literally inches from his hands. It was slightly underthrown. The receiver had to adjust on the play, but it was still a very, very strong effort from Johnson there.
But for the Raiders, luckily there's another flag, a late hit on that quarterback that's going to give them another possession and give them another opportunity out here.
And those are the mental errors that you cannot have as a Palomar Comet. You guys have the game basically wrapped up. These mental errors are what's giving Moore Park a chance to come back and win this game.
Now, if I may pose a question to the three of you, do you go for a field goal in this scenario, cut it to 8, and then try for an onside kick, try to score a touchdown, 2-point conversion?
No. It's going to be a quick throw out to the left. To the left side. It's going to be a pickup of 5 yards by Dylan Lee.
Your reason being, Nick?
Sorry, that was blunt. I was
You're
trying
very
to get it out before the play started talking. No, I don't agree with it just because I think that it's going to put that much more stress if you don't get the touchdown now and you try to save it for later. Now, of course, if it comes down to with a 4th down, yes, then kick the field goal. But if otherwise, if you have another down, try and score a touchdown.
And I strictly say that in terms of time conservation.
Right. No, I get where you're coming from. You want to basically get the field goal now and then hurry up and try and give yourself more time later. I get what you're talking about. That is going to bring up a 2nd and 5, but we have another flag.
And 5 yards has been removed from the previous penalty. They are now once again on the fringe of field goal range.
So it's going to be 46 seconds left, down 30-19. The Moore Park Raiders faced with all sorts of adversity. Trey Johnson into the game for the first time since the first quarter. Moore Park looking to pull out a miracle in this one. Johnson scanned the field, getting the snap. Snap's good this time. Throws off his back foot, wide open, but overthrown by Lee.
And that's directly a cause of the back foot that you just spoke of, Nick.
That's one thing. Obviously, Trey Johnson, he's shown that a decent quarterback, at least of his play so far. But what you had out of Isaiah Johnson, you had the confidence and accuracy on some deep ball passes. So with him being removed, Trey Johnson is kind of thrown in. Nick, you were mentioning ever since the first quarter he hasn't been in. So he's not been warmed up that well going in here, and not as much confidence that Isaiah Johnson throwing the deep ball, especially against this team. It's just not a good mixture for the Raiders.
So that's going to bring up a 3rd and 11 for the Moore Park Raiders. Johnson gets a snap.
That is a false start again. That looked to be number 11 for the Raiders. Number 11, Kenyon Toskinner.
And that's going to be yet another 5 yards revoked. Moore Park's only making it harder and harder as they're digging themselves in a deeper and deeper hole here. So it is now a 3rd and 16. Pardon me, 3rd and 15. Moore Park definitely has to go for the long ball. Palomar, without a doubt, expecting it. But can they pull it off?
Well, not necessarily, Nick. They can go for 5 to 7 yards. It's clear 4-down territory.
They have no timeout, so they have to get out of bounds, too. Johnson gets the snap, looking back. He's going deep this time. He's going deep. He has a guy just through his hands. Incomplete. The intended receiver for Moore Park College, number 14, Rashawn Williams. And that was the ball he was looking for right there, but unable to hit his receiver.
So now it is deep ball or bust. 16 yards on this 4th down. At this point, I would not necessarily aim for the sideline. If you need to get that 1st down, go over the middle.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad decision because then that would at least set you up with another play, another chance at the end zone if you do go over the middle. But right now, they just need something to be able to get that 1st down.
It's going to be a 4th and 15, game on the line. Johnson looking back, feeling pressure, breaks a tackle. He's throwing deep. Intercepted by Palomar as he's tackled in the end zone. Number 31 for the Palomar Comets, coming up with a huge play.
And that was number 31,
Coming up with
Kobe Dominguez again.
with a name like Kobe, you know that he's going to be a baller. that will all about wrap up this game. Is all Palomar has to do now
Is
is
take
take
a
a knee
knee.
with 27 seconds remaining in this game.
Well, and on that last pass, Johnson had a receiver open over the middle. He chose to throw in double coverage on the sideline, something a quarterback should never try and do if he's got an open receiver. Don't try to force the ball. If anything, roll out of the pocket, go through your progressions. If you need to check down, do it.
That's one of the things that I was mentioning throughout this game, the going through progressions out of these Moore Park quarterbacks. They haven't been doing that. And that might be a sign of Trey Johnson maybe wanting to go for the end zone, so he is going to remove the thought of throwing to any other wide receiver, and that's probably why he didn't see the guy up the middle.
The other option is that you go for broke anyway because of the time and score, so there isn't as much of a risk because it's either win or lose at this point in the game.
The strange thing about this situation is they're actually on the 1 yard line, so they can't take a knee. Therefore, they'd give a safety and give Moore Park the ball back. So technically this game isn't all over. They have to get a yard or two.
The one difficult thing for Moore Park, however, even if it was a safety, it would be a 30-21 lead, and Moore Park would still have to recover 9 points in 27 seconds. Obviously, that would have to be a touchdown and a field goal, or at least some sort of two scores like that.
I've seen it done in basketball. Thank you, Tracy McGrady. Houston Rockets.
13 points in what, a minute?
In less than a minute. More
Yeah,
like
well,
4,
it's too bad
59.
Tracy McGrady wasn't playing football and
Yeah.
got it done in 27
well,
seconds.
he had the body to do it. Built like a linebacker, he would be able.
Justin with his sports switch up. You got to love
Yeah.
it. Well, let's see what Palomar does here. They are in a knee formation, but rather impossible to take a knee on the 1 yard line.
Well, it probably is a QB sneak here just to get out of the end zone.
And they look like they went to take the knee.
Well, they may. It may be a situation where they're literally on the 1 yard line, giving them
Takes
the
a knee on the
ability
1
to-
yard line. Somehow they're not on a safety. That'll end the game. As the Palomar Comets are going to go ahead and win this one 30-19 against the Moore Park Raiders. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Well, in all honesty, it was almost a repeat narrative of last season for the Raiders in this opening game. Penalties and muff snaps were the mistakes that drove this game. There were some flashes of brilliance within the running attack, specifically at quarterback and with Bada at running back position today.
I would say my final thoughts for the Moore Park Raiders, this was actually a mixed game for me. There was a lot of positives to take from. Isaiah Johnson improvised very well on these muff snaps, was able to get some deep passes down. And then unfortunately, the Moore Park Raiders weren't able to pull this out because they were gotten in a hole time and time again because of these mental mistakes. So some negatives, some positives, but honestly, for the first game of the season, there's some bright spots Mike Stewart can coach up, and hopefully next week, they get another opportunity to get a win.
And if you're Palomar, you want to build on this success. Like I said earlier, fourth down conversions, to me, were the catalyst for this game. They were fourth down percentage last season, 37%, but they did attempt 35 times, converted 13. They were 2 for 2 today on fourth down.
One thing that Palomar has to do is they have to focus on their offensive sets. They need to focus on getting those chunk yardage and moving the football down the field, because other than the 24-yard and 32-yard touchdown in the first half, their final 5 possessions of the first half ended in either a 3-and-out and a punt or throw an interception, as they had 2 interceptions. So you need to be able to focus in on your offensive scheme and be able to move the ball forward and not just hope for these deep pass plays or these deep run plays. What Moore Park has to do is there's a lot of positives to take from it. You had a great defensive set for most of the game. You were able to get to the quarterback with the pressure. You had decent coverage as well. And on the offensive end, you just need to start early. Down 14-0, all of the 19 points that the Moore Park Raiders scored were in the second half. You need to start early, you need to start often, and you need to get that confidence in your running game. We saw at the start of the second half in the first drive, that's when they handed it off to Eddie and Bada. And that's when the offense started rolling, because you got the running game and you were able to rely on the passing game after that because it opened it up. So you need to start that in the first half. So just kind of work on that, get the chemistry flowing. Shouldn't be too bad of a few practices this week, as there's a lot to be able to pull from this first game.
And my final thoughts on the game would be, there was a lot of good, but there was things that they could definitely improve on. For one, PATs. Twice this game was the PATs by Hage Mokshian blocked, which obviously didn't affect the game as much as we thought it would, but is definitely something that will affect them down the road if they can't get these 1 points or give me points. PATs or give me points. Penalties. We saw tons of them, along with Palomar. Palomar had tons of penalties, but so did Moorpark. And Moorpark's penalties obviously affected them and cost them the game. Muff snaps. The center in the chemistry between Isaiah Johnson. Now, I'll give him this much. Isaiah Johnson did not start the game. Trey Johnson did, which means that maybe there was a different sort of chemistry between Trey Johnson and the center for the Moorpark Raiders that we don't know about, and that's why Isaiah couldn't get the snaps down. But we saw muff punts with both quarterbacks, so they have to get the snaps down. The O-line, ultimately, I know they're young. We talked about 3 of them being first-year freshmen, but constantly Isaiah had pressure on him, having to scramble out of the pocket. In fact, most of his success, one of his touchdown runs was because he was flushed out of the pocket and had decided to keep it himself. Now, some of the good things I saw, the defense. We saw him come away with a couple of interceptions. We saw, Colby Williams make some plays. Daniel Henderson make some plays. Ivory Jackson make some plays on the D-line. So some things are coming together defensively, which I like to see. And Isaiah Johnson himself, the kid had a great game. You hope that he's okay and it's not anything too serious with his injury. He did take a pretty heavy shot at the end of the night. But his passing ability, the fact that he could air it out and be accurate. And one more person, too. We want to talk about Dylan Lee. This kid had over 100 yards tonight, had a touchdown, was the go-to guy in the 3rd down, 4th down situations. So I think those were the keys. They got to build off of people like Lee and Johnson and go from there. With that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap up our post-game show. We thank everybody for viewing this and tuning in and following your Moorpark Raiders here on the Moorpark Raider live stream. Once again, my name was Nick Federico. Alongside me, Justin Borges, Ryan Catcham, and Robert Gonzalez. Stay tuned for next week when Moorpark goes on the road to play Cerritos at 6 o'clock next Saturday. Thank you guys very, very much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.